In the orphanage, a wealthy couple took a liking to my sister and me, ready to choose between us. My sister pushed me forward. Uncle, Auntie, please have pity on my sister and adopt her. I'm still young, I have a chance. As she wished, the wealthy couple adopted me. Everyone praised her kindness and selflessness, marveling at my good fortune, but only I knew that she, like me, had been reborn in our past life. After she got herself adopted by the wealthy family first, she ended up becoming nothing more than a living blood bank for the family's biological son. Not long after my sister was adopted, I was taken in by an A-list actor couple. I became a superstar in the spotlight, only to be pushed off a high rise by my utterly jealous sister. Reborn on the day of the wealthy family's adoption, she chose to shove me into that living hell, while she took my place to become the superstar. Little does she know, I'm actually grateful to her, after all, compared to the hellish methods of that award-winning actor couple. I'd rather be a blood bag. Uncle, Auntie, please have pity on my sister and take her in. I'm still young, I still have a chance. My younger sister gave me a hard shove forward, her voice trembling with excitement. I turned around and saw the excitement and anticipation sparkling in my sister's eyes. At that moment, I knew my sister and I had been reborn together. This kid is way too well behaved, isn't he? The wealthy lady's expression showed some emotion. The truth is, they weren't actually that moved. It's just that my younger sister looks healthier than me, with a rosy complexion, while I appear much thinner and gaunt, with even somewhat sunken cheeks. Compared to me, my healthy sister is a much more suitable blood bag for their son. Upon hearing this, my sister trembled slightly, and in the next instant, her eyes welled up with tears. Uncle, Auntie, she said, is it because you think my sister is too thin? My sister is actually very healthy. She's just so thin because she doesn't eat enough. She's always taking care of me. Please, won't you adopt her? The younger sister tearfully recounted my hardships, and the eyes of the richest woman began to show emotion. Inside, I was coldly amused. So she knew all along. She knew how much I took care of her, how I snatched food from others, gave it all to her, and raised her plump and healthy, yet failed to see that she was an ungrateful wretch. The more one gets, the more it becomes expected. My child, are you willing? The tycoon's wife, having heard my sister's words, turned her questioning gaze to me. I, in turn, glanced at my sister, my eyes filled with reluctance. Little sister, won't you regret this? What will become of you? In my past life, I had acted in so many plays, and in this moment, my expression was perfectly on point. I was even afraid my excessive joy might betray my true feelings. Sis, you always listen to me, don't you? Just trust me on this one too. A look of sorrow crossed my face. I gave a slight nod and whispered, all right, then. Without a backward glance, I followed the billionaire couple and left. As for my sister, if she intends to walk the same path I once did, well then, welcome to what was once my personal hell. Too many years ago, my sister and I were abandoned on the steps of an orphanage. We each had a small tag pinned to our chests, bearing our names and dates of birth. I was the older sister, so from a young age, I took on the responsibilities that came with that role. In the orphanage, many resources had to be fought for. If you weren't strong, you'd be bullied. I gave all the resources I seized to my sister. She thought it was her due, unaware that the frail me was the truly powerful one. In my previous life, my sister fought to become the daughter of a tycoon, while I was adopted by a couple of award-winning actors. Under the guidance of the actor couple, I embarked on my journey as a child star and eventually became a celebrated superstar. My sister, however, became a living blood bank for the son of the wealthiest man. For refusing to cooperate, she was tortured beyond recognition. Her life is miserable, while mine shines brilliantly, like a rising star adored wherever I go. Back in the orphanage, she always had better food than me. Later, she got a better adoption too, yet now, her life is far worse than mine. Consumed by jealousy, my sister pushed me off the top of a skyscraper. Should actually thank her. What she doesn't know is that I've finally escaped my misery, that hell on earth. Not long after returning to the billionaire's house, I learned from the news that my sister had been adopted. It was quite the spectacle. A huge crowd of media had gathered on the scene, cameras shoved right in my sister's face. Beaming with a smile, she happily called out to the award-winning actor and his wife, Mom, Dad. The actor and his wife smiled insincerely, patting my sister's head. From now on, they said, "You're our real daughter." I watched the smiles of those two through the screen, my heart suddenly twitching, feeling a bit dazed, as if I saw a demon waving at me. "Lili, it's time to eat." The voice of the richest woman brought me back to my senses. She and the servants were preparing tonight's dinner, her face radiating a kind smile. "Sure, Auntie." During this time, the billionaire couple treated me very well, almost to the point of meticulous care. I even gained a little weight and my complexion started to look healthier, but I know there's a price to pay, because I have the rare Rhd negative blood type, commonly known as panda blood, and the billionaire's son happens to need a long-term blood donor with a matching blood type. In my past life, she was my sister. In this one, it's me. Yet, the key to breaking the deadlock lies in my own hands. My goal is more than just being an ordinary blood donor. 3. Lili, why are you still calling her Aunt? You should call her Mom now. The wealthy lady gently patted my head, and I lowered my eyes, carefully asking, "You really won't send me back, will you? Do I really have a home now?" My voice gradually softened, tinged with disappointment, and my shoulders trembled slightly, revealing my nervousness and unease. Over the past few days, I've noticed that the wealthy lady isn't particularly kind, but if I can tap into her deepest, most emotional feelings, she might be a key to a breakthrough. Seeing how well-behaved and understanding I was, the wealthy lady felt even more tender-hearted. "Mom promises you, I really won't send you away." The richest man's wife looked at the richest man sitting in the main seat and said, "We are your father and mother." The richest man spoke little, but he nodded in agreement. The Zhou family is wealthy and influential, so whether there's one more or one less person at the table doesn't make a difference. But I don't just want to be a daughter in name only. With tears glistening in my eyes, I cried out gratefully, "Dad, Mom, in my past life, my sister's arrogant and conceited nature led her to act like a young mistress the moment she arrived home, bossing the servants around with utter contempt. She exhausted the patience of the billionaire couple in just a few days. With a personality like that, it's no wonder she failed to win anyone's affection. I know that right now, everyone is acting. They're playing the part of good parents, and I'm playing the part of the good daughter, so it all comes down to whose performance is more convincing. For I obediently and cautiously played the role of a well-behaved daughter. This gradually eased the concerns of the wealthy couple, making them feel that bringing me back was the right decision. Some time later, the wealthy lady took me to the hospital. I finally met the legendary son of the wealthiest man, Zhou Yubai. Zhou Yubai suffers from aplastic anemia, a condition that leaves him looking deathly pale and requires him to receive blood transfusions at regular intervals. His blood type is extremely rare, so the best solution is to have a long-term, stable source of blood. "Lili, this is your younger brother, Zhou Yubai. Yubai, from now on, Lili will be your older sister." The wife of the wealthiest man gently nudged me forward as she made the introduction. "I don't want any sister," Zhou Yubai retorted, lying pale in bed, his eyes filled with disdain for me. Unfazed, I stepped forward, took Zhou Yubai's hand, and asked with a face full of concern, "Mother, what's wrong with little brother?" Zhou Yubai tried to pull his hand back, but I held onto it tightly. "My younger son has an illness. He needs constant blood transfusions just to survive," said the tycoon's wife, her voice catching with emotion as she spoke of her child, her eyes brimming with heartache. No amount of money could give Zhou Yubai a perfectly healthy body. After hearing this, I lifted my face slightly, my eyes glistening with moisture. Yet my gaze was resolute. "Then take my blood. I have plenty of blood. If you take mine, my brother will get better." "Lili, are you really sure about this?" The billionaire's wife grew visibly emotional. "Getting your blood drawn will hurt, you know. A long needle will go right into your arm." I nodded firmly and patted my chest. "I'm the big sister. It's my job to protect my little brother." The billionaire's wife gratefully pulled me into a hug. "Thank you, Lili, you're such a little angel." Zhou Yubai turned his face away, a bit petulantly, and said, "Who needs your protection?" The wealthy lady quickly took me for tests and matching. The matching was very successful. My blood type was a perfect match for Zhou Yubai's. The first time I got blood drawn, the long needle pierced my arm, and as half a tube was quickly extracted, my face turned pale, but I clenched my teeth and stayed silent. The process of drawing blood was painful, and each time before it started, There were various checks to go through, and the needle would immediately cause my hand to swell. My sister from my past life was so delicate that she couldn't endure the daily pain of blood draws. She was extremely uncooperative, and eventually, she even tried to murder Zhou Yubai. After being discovered, the billionaire couple treated her even more harshly. This kind of pain was nothing to me. I had experienced things 10 times more painful in my previous life countless times. It was all just an act. I bit my lip tightly, and the wealthy lady looked full of guilt. The more it hurts me, the guiltier they feel, and the more they pity me. I'm fine, it doesn't hurt, as long as my brother gets better, just like a resilient little white flower. It's truly heartbreaking. 5. The next time I saw my little sister, she was already on television. She was all dressed up, looking radiant in a beautiful princess dress with her hair in adorable little braids, appearing on a variety show alongside the award-winning actor and his wife. The barrage was filled with praise for the award-winning actor couple and their daughter, admiring the picture-perfect family of 3. Princess Gigi is so beautiful, even though she's not their biological child. She's just as gorgeous as if she were. This is so touching. All the hardship Princess Gigi endured before was just leading up to this moment of meeting her mom and dad, but I was the only one who noticed the flicker of fear in the little sister's eyes. Hidden behind her heavy makeup, her eyes were completely different now, devoid of the pride and disdain they once held. And now, it's time for our little friend Gigi to show us her talent. Let's give her a warm welcome. As soon as the host finished speaking, the camera cut to the younger sister. She walked up to the piano and began to play. The melodious music filled the air, and thunderous applause erupted from the audience. But only I noticed the shadows beneath the eyes of the celebrity couple, because I could tell that my sister had played a few wrong notes. She's going to have a tough time when she gets back. 6. In my past life, the celebrity couple took me in, and as soon as they got home, they dropped the facade they had when they adopted me and started training me. The first step was taming, and yes, it was exactly like taming an animal. To make me obedient, they would often lock me in a small dark room and not feed me. Then they would put the food in a dog bowl and make me eat it like a dog, sometimes even putting just one bowl out for me to fight with the dog over. When I did something wrong, I would be chained to a dog crate. There were 2 leashes in the house, one for the dog, and one for me. They never treated me as a living person, not even as a pet or a toy. If I resisted, it would only invite more severe abuse. They wouldn't leave any visible marks. Instead, they would use a long, thin needle to jab it into various parts of my body. The puncture wound is tiny, invisible on the surface, but beneath it lies a world of ruin. Step 2 was the training. They scheduled a relentless daily regimen of lessons, all to mold me into a multi-talented child star. But if I hit a single wrong note while playing, or missed a single beat while dancing, the consequences were a foregone conclusion, because their demand was perfection from me. It was how I brought them honor and prestige, and I couldn't resist. If I did, I would face 10 or even 100 times the retaliation. In the eyes of these demons, I was nothing more than a toy, and a valuable one at that. So in my previous life, I worked tirelessly to create value for myself. I seized every opportunity to appear in public, eventually becoming a star in the spotlight. I became a valuable toy, and their attitude towards me improved. Since I was constantly in the public eye, they could no longer treat me the way they did when I was a child. Just when I thought my fortunes were finally turning, they sold me out for their own gain, delivering me straight into the bed of some wealthy old man in the industry. And it was right after that my own sister pushed me from the top of that skyscraper. To this day, I'm still haunted by fear. I often jolt awake from nightmares in the dead of night, my back drenched in a cold sweat. I hate them. I could drink their blood and eat their flesh. I hate them so much, I could kill them. I also hate my sister, for being so good to her, yet she killed me even before I died. I was still trying to find a way for her to escape the clutches of the Zhou family. All she saw was my glamorous performance, out of jealousy, and then my only kin, she killed me herself. Years of pathological torment have long twisted my psyche. I equally hate every single person in this world, even the world itself. 7. I no longer pay special attention to my sister's news, as I'm busy trying to win over the richest family. Whenever Zhou Yubai needed me, I became his loyal, on-call source of support. The more obedient and sensible I was, the heavier their guilt grew, and the more grateful they became. They always tried to make It up to me with material comforts. As for Zhou Yubai, he wasn't too keen on accepting me at first. Apart from going to school, I spent all my free time at the hospital. During the day, I'd keep Zhou Yubai company, telling him jokes to cheer him up, and I'd take him downstairs to get some sun. At night before bed, I'd read him a bedtime story. Actually, a kid like Zhou Yubai is the easiest to win over. Someone who's been stuck in the hospital for years because of an illness tends to be desperately lonely with hardly any friends, and that's exactly when I showed up. For someone like that, a person who offers companionship and emotional support becomes all the more precious. One night, after I finished telling him a bedtime story, Zhou Yubai asked me, "Why are you so good to me? For money, for fame, for profit, for revenge, for myself?" Of course, I wouldn't answer that. I smiled sincerely, patting his head. "Because you're my brother, you're my family, I've given you so much of my blood. Over the years, my blood flows in your veins now, that makes us family." The next moment, Zhou Yubai looked up and saw the constellation of needle marks, fresh and old, on my arm from years of transfusions. The blood donations had left my complexion paler than most. "I'm sorry, this is all because of me." It was the first time Zhou Yubai had ever apologized to me. All the resistance he once held toward me was gone, replaced by a gaze filled with remorse and guilt. I patted his head and comforted him. "I don't blame you, I just want you to get better. Then, when I'm better, will you take me to the amusement park? I've never been to one." "Okay, I promise." From that day on, Zhou Yubai cooperated with his treatment with great enthusiasm. I'm now well enough to leave the hospital room for short walks occasionally. The billionaire couple even started treating me as their family's lucky charm. Even the household staff changed how they addressed me, from Miss Jiang to just Miss, and finally to young mistress. But it still wasn't enough. I'm not truly one of the Zhou family yet. 8. Lai Lai, tell mommy, what is this? The wife of the wealthiest man in town was holding a blood-stained dress, which one of the household servants had found in my room. I pulled my arm back slightly and lowered my head. And no, nothing, just a fall. My acting was terrible, like a child desperately trying to hide a secret but full of holes. Lai Lai, you never lie. The wealthy lady clearly didn't believe me. She stepped forward and pulled up my sleeve, revealing bruises of various colors and a scraped patch on my upper arm. Then she pulled my clothes apart, and some wounds were still bleeding. "Lai Lai, tell mom, what's going on?" The wealthy lady's face was as dark as ink under her relentless questioning. I finally cried and told the truth. "They bully me at school, pull my hair, hit me, and call me a child with no parents, saying I'm just an illegitimate girl in your family, and that mom and dad will eventually kick me out." I wept and sobbed, wishing I could pour out all my grievances in one torrent of tears. The billionaire's wife held me in a comforting embrace, her heart aching for me. That evening, I heard voices coming from the study. It was the billionaire and his wife. "You have no idea how much I adore that child. She's so sweet and well-behaved. How could they treat her like that?" In my heart, Lai Lai has long been my own daughter. "You must go to the school tomorrow and stand up for Lai Lai, she is your daughter too." In the room, the wealthiest man had the final say. "Will do as my wife says." 9. The ones who bullied me were all brought before me the next day. Their parents, with them in tow, nervously came to apologize to me. "Mr. Zhou, Mrs. Zhou, do you think this is acceptable? We will transfer them to another school immediately and guarantee that your daughter will no longer be harmed." The richest couple sat in the main seat, with even the school leaders standing to the side. "This is power. As long as you are strong enough, everyone else is beneath you." The richest couple, oh, now they should be called Rich Dad and Rich Mom, because they are going to change my last name. I received my new name, Zhou Lai. That wasn't enough. They even threw a grand banquet, inviting numerous media outlets to officially announce to the outside world, to everyone, that I was the eldest daughter of the Zhou family, dressed in exquisite and beautiful haute couture. My billionaire mother led me by the hand as she introduced me to the media. "This is my daughter, Zhou Lai." I sat at the piano, my fingers dancing lightly over the keys, flawlessly playing the piano piece for Elise. It was a perfect performance. The surroundings were filled with praises. "Miss Zhou is truly beautiful. Her elegance is so much like Mrs. Zhou's. No wonder they say she takes after her mother. Miss Zhou is indeed multi-talented. Your daughter is truly graceful and poised." The richest mom couldn't Stop smiling at all the compliments, I just came out for some fresh air, never expecting to see my dear sister again. 10. She was in her gown, seemingly stopped at the door, arguing with the security guard. I should be the daughter of the richest man, let me in. She must have seen the news online, because this is something my sister never had in her previous life, until her death. My sister never gained recognition from the Zhou family, let alone such a grand announcement to the world. She stormed in, jealousy once again flashing in her eyes. I thought she would learn to be more restrained after all that, but it seems she hasn't changed at all. Who is this lunatic? Don't let her scare the guests. Who are you calling a lunatic? Look closely, I'm the star Jiang Ji. I don't know. In the next second, I appeared at the door. My sister rushed towards me like she had found a lifeline. She was thin, and her features resembled mine a bit, but her demeanor was completely different. Sis. It's me, Jiang Ji. She rushed over excitedly. Little sister, I said, feigning surprise. What are you doing here? Little sister, you're a real star now. I see you on TV every day, I said, my voice tinged with envy. Sis, let's swap again. Please, just one more time. Will you be the star? Let's switch back. We'll switch back again. As she spoke, she grabbed my hand, and I winced, pulling it away. The security guard immediately stepped in front of me. Sister, what are you talking about? What's this about switching? It was as if I had triggered some hidden switch in my sister. She suddenly flew into a frenzy, screaming, Jiang Lai, have you been reborn too? Jiang Lai, give me back my life. I am the true young mistress of the Zhou family. It must have been you. Why didn't you tell me? She roared. Little sister, what on earth are you talking about? Jiang Ji was still shouting, and the commotion was so loud that it drew the attention of the wealthiest mother. The moment Jiang Ji saw the wealthiest mother, her eyes lit up. She began babbling incoherently. Mom, it's me, it's Gigi. Don't you remember me? Who are you? Back then, you said you were going to adopt me first. I'm your daughter. I'm back. I have blood. I'll donate blood to Zhou Yubai in the future. Mom, I'm your daughter. Jiang Ji pointed viciously at me. She's just a thief who stole my life. 11. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom, I'm the one who took my sister's life. You were supposed to adopt her. Hearing this, a smug look spread across my sister's face. Well, if that's how you feel, she said, then why don't you just leave? My billionaire mother grabbed my arm, then looked at my sister as if she were a fool, her voice still tinged with shock. Lai, what nonsense are you talking? You will always be my daughter. I'm truly grateful now that I never adopted you back then. You don't deserve to be my daughter. My sister's hysterical outburst was truly unforgettable. I imagine my billionaire mother was also feeling relieved that she hadn't adopted her. Bitch, it's all because of you, Jiang Ji said, lunging at me, but was stopped by the security guards. Mom, doesn't the sister also have family? Let's contact her family. The wealthy mother patted my hand. Lai, how kind you are. The security guards took the sister away, and in the end, the superstar couple came to take her back. Mr. Zhou, Mrs. Zhou, we are truly sorry. And we will definitely discipline our daughter properly. They yanked the sister's hair and pulled her arms. My wealthy mother, with a protective stance, held me close to her. My sister struggled fiercely, shouting, I don't want to go back. The past is still vivid in my mind. In my previous life, no matter how humiliated or difficult my own life was, I still tried to plan and arrange things for her whenever she mentioned her hardships in the Zhou family. This time around, I will not lend a hand. It's likely that things won't be easy for her sister after she returns. She might be locked in a dark room, chained in a dog cage, have needles pierced through her fingertips, and there are many more ways. But what does that have to do with me? After all, I'm now the young lady of the Zhou family, and I have nothing to do with the daughter of a movie emperor and empress. 12. Indeed, Jiang Ji did not appear in front of the camera for some time. Meanwhile, I began to make a name for myself and joined the Zhou Corporation. Zhou Yubai's condition stabilized, and with the use of some special medications, he was able to return to school normally. The frequency of blood transfusions has also started to decrease. I gradually began taking on some company affairs, and I handled each one excellently. The accolades I received from the outside world also brought honor to the Zhou family. My billionaire parents are very pleased with me. Zhou Yubai, however, had no interest in business. Instead, he developed a passion for music and threw himself into it completely. My sister can handle inheriting the conglomerate. I don't like running a company, I prefer making music. It was only in recent years that Zhou Yubai recovered enough to live a normal life. But human desire knows no bounds. Once Zhou Yubai began to regain his health, they started pressuring him to take over the family business again. Haven't you had enough of playing around all these years? Do you expect your sister to shoulder this immense responsibility alone? Their father, the wealthiest man in the city, said sternly, I knew it. They still hoped Zhou Yubai would take over the company, no matter how close the bond. There's always a difference between a biological child and an adopted one, yet, Zhou Yubai remained steadfast in his pursuit of a music career. His billionaire father was absolutely furious with him, but there was nothing he could do about it. After dinner, on the balcony, I asked Zhou Yubai, Are you really sure you don't want to come back and take over the company? Zhou Yubai smiled at me and said, I don't like the idea of inheriting the company, and I won't do it. I just want to focus on making music. Then, he looked at me with a firm yet somber gaze. My response was silence. 13. When did I realize Zhou Yubai's business acumen? After I'd spent several nights wrestling with an obscure problem. Zhou Yubai pinpointed the crux of the matter in an instant. In that moment, I knew the capitalist instincts inherited in Zhou Yubai's genes were terrifyingly potent. A sense of crisis washed over me. I craved power, and Zhou Yubai had become my obstacle. So when did I first realize Zhou Yubai had feelings for me? It was that afternoon. The gentle kiss Zhou Yubai planted on my cheek, the one I pretended not to notice, so I casually mentioned that I liked boys who played the piano well, and just like that, Zhou Yubai made music his dream. I have to say, he really was a silly boy. Of course I was lying to him. I absolutely detest the piano, I admit. In this moment, I'm being despicable, but so what? As long as it serves my purpose, if we can stay like this, then I'm willing to put in the time to maintain this so-called family. 14. With lightning speed and ruthless efficiency, I became the industry's newest legend. They all address me with a respectful, young Master Zhou. Then, in a decadent, opulent private room, I ran into my dear sister. I could tell she was having a very rough time. My sister has always been in a lukewarm state, not becoming a big star like I did in my previous life. I know better than anyone the struggles of an actor, as I went through countless hardships to rise to the top. At this moment, I am surrounded by people, while my sister is a hostess. Why aren't you coming up to pour the drinks? Don't you want the role of the second female lead anymore? They're just some clueless small-time celebrities, thinking they're something special. See whether it's a big-shot celebrity or a small-time one. In the eyes of capital, they're all just playthings. An oily middle-aged man pulled the girl into his arms, and she obediently wrapped her arms around his neck. The lights flickered, and the girl turned to meet my eyes. It was a staggering fall from grace. The next instant, she sprang from the sleazy man's arms. Jiang Lai, Jiang Lai. A flash of desperate hope lit her eyes. In one swift motion, she snatched a fruit knife from the table and lunged it toward me. She wanted to kill me and start over from scratch. As if that would ever happen, the bodyguard beside me kicked her aside. Only then did the crowd realize what had just happened. The greasy man also stood up, grabbed his sister's hair, and slapped her hard several times. Bitch, you dare to lay hands on Mr. Zhou? I think you've had it. His sister was dazed from the slaps, lying on the ground in a miserable state. Mr. Zhou, I sincerely apologize. Please accept my apologies. I'll take care of this person right away. The greasy man bowed in apology. Hand her over to me. I gave a signal, and the bodyguard understood, dragging my sister to her feet. 15. Inside the vast room, my sister saw me sitting in the main seat. As soon as she opened her eyes, she crawled towards me in a disheveled state, pleading, Jiang Lai, can we switch back again? The tycoon originally intended to adopt me. They are demons. They don't treat me like a human. Jiang Lai, can you die this time too? My sister spoke in a hoarse voice, utterly broken. Oh, you foolish little sister, even when I give you a chance, you still can't make the most of it. At this very moment, I stopped pretending. Jiang Lai died a long time ago. She died the moment you pushed me down those stairs. My sister finally caught on and burst into maniacal laughter. So you've been reborn too? Ha 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 ha. I knew it. that explains why you refuse to trade places with me. Haven't I already given you a chance? It's your fault for not seizing it, Jiangji. You say your name is Jiangji, yet you still know nothing. Sister, you're too foolish, so I'll take control of this game. I reached out and gently patted my sister's face. This face that somewhat resembles mine is truly detestable. My younger sister suddenly seemed to remember something else and began kowtowing to me frantically. Sis, I was wrong, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been jealous and pushed you down the stairs. Please, help me, you're the only one who can. Help me now, I'm begging you, Jiang Lai, for the sake of us being blood sisters, please help me. I never want to go back. I never want to return to those two demons. Please, help me. Jiang Ji's head slammed down heavily. Tears streamed down her face, and she was practically sobbing. I don't believe her apology is sincere, but I still have to help her. My dear sister, isn't that why I'm here to help you? After all, you're still my own sister. How could I just stand by and watch you die? Otherwise, why have the top actor and his wife been unable to find any work these past 2 years? In the end, they had no choice but to target Jiang Ji and sent her to that middle-aged greasy man, and my revenge is just beginning. 16. Over the past few years, I've been covertly undermining the award-winning actor and his wife, and I've done a thoroughly comprehensive job of it. However, they have no idea who they've crossed. They can only take their frustration out on my sister, since the sister was also lukewarm and didn't need to appear in front of the camera too often. They became even more brazen, often no longer avoiding it but directly resorting to violence. The couple usually attacked from both sides, and the sister's fear of them made her too scared to resist. Soon, a video was leaked. The couple, who usually appeared peaceful and harmonious in the eyes of outsiders, were seen viciously attacking someone. And then the scene switched to some special locations. They are regulars there. This was followed by tax evasion and drug use. It turns out they were so erratic because they had a long history of drug abuse and were passionate about drugs. Abuser, drug addict. Overnight, the reputation of the award-winning couple was ruined. The reputation, wealth, and power they valued most were all gone in an instant. They were also sent to a rehab center for drug use. Every day inside was sheer agony. They were forced into detox, subjected to beatings and electric shocks, and I used a bit of influence to give them a little extra attention. Soon after, they made headlines again. They attempted suicide in the rehab center. Want to die? Don't even think about it. I want them to suffer, and they didn't even know it was me behind it all. 17. Jiang Ji killed someone. The middle-aged greasy man who had taken care of my sister had a mistress on the side, which was discovered by his wife at home. The wife followed the trail of clues, and it led her straight to the younger woman. She immediately gathered her people, and that sleazy man barged into the younger woman's home and gave her a piece of her mind right in front of him. They surrounded her, yanked her hair, slapped her face, and kicked her in the stomach. In the chaos, the younger woman grabbed a knife and stabbed the sleazy man. In the end, the greasy man bled to death and resuscitation failed. As the only relative of my sister, I was summoned to court. At this moment, my sister is already showing signs of mental instability. Muttering incoherently, "Rebirth, Jiang Lai, let's switch back, Jiang Lai, die." Jiang Lai is already dead. I've always wondered why my sister hates me so much. Is it just jealousy, or is it because I was too good to her, to the point where she decided that my life should be sacrificed for her? She was found not guilty by reason of insanity, but my dear sister has already made all the arrangements for her. A full-service sanatorium package. She's destined to spend the rest of her life there. We're two of us sisters. One was named Jiang Lai, but Jiang Lai is dead. There's a guy named Jiang Ji, but Jiang Ji is incredibly stupid. It seems the character, Jiang, is my nemesis. 18. I returned to the Zhou family. Several years later, my abilities grew stronger, and I had completely taken control of the Zhou corporation. No one cared anymore whether I was the biological daughter of the Zhou family. The glory I brought to the Zhou corporation far surpassed what it had been before, and I led it to an even higher level. My wealthy father also announced his retirement, and I succeeded him as the chairman of the Zhou Corporation. In the evening, the servants were packing the luggage for my wealthy parents. "Dad, Mom, where are you going? Now that I've retired, I plan to travel the world with your mom. Lai, you've done a great job these years, and Dad believes in you. I trust you with the Zhou family business." The wealthy mother held my hand, her eyes filled with affection. Lai, Mom is truly grateful that you joined this family. At first, Dad and I did have some less than noble intentions when we brought you home. It was only later that we realized how terribly wrong we were, and that we should never have presumed to decide the course of your life so lightly. From now on, be brave and forge your own path. Just remember, your father and I will always be right behind you. It wasn't until my parents were out of sight that I realized my cheeks were wet and warm. Perhaps I had been playing this role for too long, so long, that the actor had become lost in the part, and I found myself crying. 19. Zhou Yubai went abroad to study music at a university. Over the past few years, we've kept in touch sporadically, much like a brother and sister would. One day, he sent me a message. Sis, you're not going to go back on your promise about taking me to the amusement park, are you? I replied, we're not kids anymore. Why go to an amusement park? He sent me a woo sticker. What a fool. Actually, I was lying to him because I've never been to an amusement park either. Story 2. The night before my 22nd birthday, the lion cub I raised clung to a pampered fox beast man with a mocking smile. Sis, you didn't actually believe I'd marry some lowly pure human, did you? Ignoring my breakdown, they sent me to a comfort house on my birthday, where I was torn apart by frenzied beast men brawls. When everything reset, I walked past the pitiful, wounded lion cub and scooped up the little merman with azure blue tails in the corner. This time, I won't save him again. 1. In the orc world, pure humans are the lowest caste. Pure humans who fail to find an orc partner before age 22 are forcibly converted into orc comfort objects. But I'm not afraid. I have my little lion Nico. Maybe it's because I'm turning 22 soon, but the closer my birthday gets, the more restless I feel. I really want Nico to register our marriage earlier. Whenever I anxiously push for it, Nico gets irritated. Sis, what are you worried about? Wouldn't registering the day before your birthday be perfect, such a meaningful anniversary, or do you not trust me? Nico bristled with anger, his whole body tensing up, suppressing my unease. I quickly explained, no, it's not that I don't trust you, maybe I'm just too scared. The warning signs were already there, but I trusted the little lion I'd raised too much. It never crossed my mind that he'd play such cruel games with me. By the time I learned my lesson the hard way, it was already too late. 2. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to being 17. 3 more days until I'd find Nico. At the same time and place, I once more saw the injured lion cub that looked like a kitten. Ignoring his longing gaze, I picked up the unconscious little merman. Not seeking revenge was the kindest thing I could do for him. After carrying the little merman home, I immediately placed him in a water-filled basin. Watching his wrinkled little face gradually relax, I let out a long sigh of relief. Saving him wasn't a spur of the moment decision. I'd resolved to do it the moment I was reborn. In my past life at the sanctuary, I was assigned to the most destructive merman's chamber. Rumor had it that every previous caretaker had fled in terror, unable to even approach him. Yet the moment he saw me, he calmed instantly, doing nothing but watching me with those piercing silver-gray eyes. From that day on, I became his personal tranquilizer. Only later did I learn he was Talia, the former chieftain of the merfolk, abandoned ashore by my own kind as a pup. I wandered the land until my return to the sea. By then, I was no longer the same. The wars that followed eroded my sanity, until madness consumed me completely. Under his protection, none dared lay a finger on me. When he was gone, the orcs went berserk. I got caught in their frenzy and was torn apart. 3. Talia spoke sparingly, which made our rare conversations all the more memorable. He said he saw me when he first washed ashore, watching me pick up the cub before dehydration claimed his consciousness. He admitted wishing I'd carried him away too. A rare smile softened his usually aloof expression, dimples appearing as he spoke with uncharacteristic shyness. My heart ached hearing this, and I told him solemnly, if given another chance, I'd find you and carry you home. His silver-gray eyes stared intently at me. Well then, remember my name is Talia, for, perhaps sensing safety, the little mermaid's pale blue tail flickered gently, casting shimmering ripples. Only then did I understand the meaning of rebirth. This time I'm determined to change not just my own fate, but Talia's as well. I won't let her suffer the same tragic destiny as before. Once Talia's condition stabilized, I felt relieved enough to start preparing dinner. Talia still hadn't woken up by the time dinner was ready. Just as she used to watch over me, I now sat quietly on the sofa, gazing at her. Merfolk are renowned for their beauty and combat prowess, having seen Talia in her adult form. I can attest to her androgynous allure and formidable aggression, but I never expected young Talia to be this adorably soft, with her silver-white tousled hair and that little aqua tail wagging about. She's criminally cute. Just as I was utterly spellbound by the little one's charm, an astonished baby voice piped up. Am I dreaming? Her moist silver-gray eyes locked onto mine, piercing my heart like an arrow. Why do you say that? Talia clenched her little fists in excitement. I saw my sister. She must be an angel sent from heaven to save me. She lowered her head bashfully, stealing a furtive glance from the corner of her eye. He was on the verge of passing out when his sister appeared, desperate for her to take him away, yet unable to speak a word. As his sister walked past the little lion, he feared she might miss him. He'd been so good, no trouble at all, needing just a sip of water. But before he could see her approach, darkness claimed him. In his final conscious moment, he prayed desperately for her to take him home. The heavens answered his prayer. The first thing he saw upon awakening was his sister. He vowed then to become the most obedient little merman. 5. My heart softened, and my gaze grew tender. I'm no angel. I'm Celine. Stay as long as you like here, if you wish. Talia's eyes widened with delight, sparkling like stars. I'm Talia. Then mustering up courage in a soft voice. I really like you. Who could resist such an adorable little one's heartfelt confession? Certainly not me. I like you too, Talia. You're the most adorable mermaid I've ever seen. Talia's cheeks flushed crimson as she shyly covered the lower half of her face, her silver-gray eyes glistening with emotion. Who would have thought Talia, the deadly weapon that wreaks havoc everywhere, was such a cuddly little ball of fluff as a child? When it was time to rest, little Talia still clung stubbornly to the hem of my clothes. Big sis, will I get to see you again tomorrow? Of course, Talia, just rest well in the water today. And I promise you'll see me again tomorrow. Talia reluctantly let go. Good night, sis, I'll miss you. Testing the water temperature with a smile, I replied, good night, Talia. 6. The next morning, whimpering sounds at the door startled me awake. I rushed up, fearing something had happened to Talia. Upon opening the door, I found little Talia and Nico locked in a tense standoff. Nico's right leg bore dried bloodstains, as if from some violent struggle. Spotting my approach, little Talia quickly swam over with her pale blue tail. Sis, I didn't cause his injuries. I gently stroked little Talia's hair and took his hand, saying, I know. Then I turned to Nico, who was putting on a pitiful act, completely baffled at how he'd tracked us down. Seeing this, Nico's eyes flashed with jealousy before quickly welling up with tears. Big sis, could you adopt me? I've got no home left. He then pretended to casually glance at his wound. Little Talia clutched my hand tightly, putting on a brave face. While I wouldn't go so far as to seek revenge, I had no desire to maintain any contact with him, let alone consider adoption again. I refused coldly. No. Nico seemed incredulous, his eyes widening as he kept muttering, impossible, impossible. I broke down instantly, crying, how could you just abandon me? It finally dawned on me. Nico had been reborn too. No wonder he could track me down. I kept reminding myself that the past life was the past life, and I shouldn't take it out on Nico, who knew nothing about it. But now that he's reborn too, why the hell should I keep pretending nothing ever happened? My calm facade belies the venom in every word. Why should I care about you? I already have my little mermaid. Anything furry is just filthy. Nico's expression shattered as he desperately tried to hide the bloodstained fur. I'm not dirty, sister, I'm really not. He reached out to grab me, but little Talia bared her teeth to stop him, Nico's lips trembling uncontrollably. Please, sis, I was wrong, don't abandon me. I took a disgusted step back, pretending not to understand. Just leave already, find some noble beast man to take care of you. I'm truly incapable. With that, I took Talia's hand and slammed the door shut. Hearing Nico's wails through the door filled me with dark satisfaction. In my past life, had I not met Talia, I wouldn't have planned to live another day. I'd rather die cleanly than endure prolonged suffering. Regaining composure, I forced a smile, not wanting to frighten little Talia. Did that scare you? Talia shook her little head earnestly. I wasn't scared at all. What about you, sis? Me neither. Do you think I'm being heartless? Talia puffed her cheeks like a steamed bun. Big sis, don't talk about yourself like that. He must have done something wrong to hurt you, sis. You're the absolute best big sister in the whole wide world. A warm feeling washed over her heart, dissolving all the resentment Nico had stirred up. I curled my lips into a smile as I gazed affectionately at Talia. All right then, the world's best big sister is off to cook for the world's most adorable little mermaid. Be a good girl and wait patiently, my precious Talia. Bubbling with joy from the praise, Talia gave two cheerful ahs and obediently stayed in her water basin. Her pale blue tail swayed gently while silver-gray eyes followed Celine's bustling figure, dimples appearing on her porcelain cheeks as she smiled. Big sis just said I'm the cutest in the whole world, so happy. Hides face shyly. How is it? Tasty. Talia's cheeks were puffed up with food, her eyes sparkling like little stars. So yummy. Sis, you're amazing. Clearing my throat modestly, I said, not bad, just decently tasty. Talia looked puzzled and tried to cheer me up. Sis, don't sell yourself short. You're amazing. As if that wasn't enough, she gave me an enthusiastic thumbs up. This is absolutely delicious. I'm totally obsessed with it. Well, kids just don't understand adult humility. 7. According to Talia, he was knocked unconscious and washed ashore. The little guy seemed embarrassed, clamming up and only insisting he'd never return to the ocean. But is it really okay for a mermaid like you to stay on land instead of the ocean? I asked with concern. No worries, sis, I'm no ordinary mermaid. Just need to soak in water daily and I'm good. Her tone dripped with pride, those silver-gray eyes sparkling as if saying, aren't I amazing? Praise me, my mischievous side won out as I casually replied, oh. Talia froze instantly, as if struck by my indifference, her tail going completely still. Her clear, pitiful eyes looked lost, staring at me helplessly. I cursed myself for being such a jerk and quickly added, amazing. As expected of Talia, the little one perked up again, mustering courage through bashfulness to say, I'm so happy to live with you, sis, then added, I'll protect you. I smiled from the bottom of my heart. I'll do everything in my power to protect Talia too. Even the most talented little mermaid still needs to go to school. Sis, do I have to go? I want to stay with you, the mermaid pleaded with puppy dog eyes. I gave her a firm no, absolutely not. Even mermaids can't grow up illiterate. Oh, 8 orcs and pure humans attend different schools. The human curriculum focuses on practical skills for survival in the orc-dominated world. Orc education prioritizes unlocking combat potential and power development, with basic knowledge as secondary. Their accelerated growth cycle means graduation typically occurs within 3 years. Initially, Talia struggled to adapt since merfolk naturally avoid crowded beastkin environments, but after realizing it would strengthen her abilities to protect me, she became exceptionally motivated for every session. Talia would show me what they'd learned every day after returning, so I always assumed they were happy at the Orc Academy until the day they came home covered in wounds. By then Talia had grown into a 12 or 13-year-old, with a bloody bite mark swelling purple on their arm and claw mark streaking across their face. When asked what happened, Talia just said there'd been a clash with other beasts. Nothing more. I had no choice but to treat his wounds. Though orcs heal quickly and merfolk are particularly resilient, proper treatment still speeds up recovery. I figured occasional brawls were to be expected for an orc, so I didn't press further. But then he started coming home injured every single day. Something was definitely wrong. He wouldn't tell me, so I had to tail him quietly. Then I stumbled upon Talia brawling with a pack of orcs. She dropped them one by one. Within moments, the whole group was sprawled on the ground. Talia grabbed the bulliest black bear orc and pummeled him relentlessly, her fists radiating an unsettling ferocity beyond her years. Say it again. Who's the inferior one? The bear beast man screamed in terror, snot and tears streaming down his face. Stop, please stop. I was wrong. I'm worthless. I'm scum. Sobbing, the bear beast man was beaten bloody, barely breathing, yet Talia showed no mercy. Seeing the beast man near death, I shouted, Talia, enough, stop this now. Talia froze in her tracks. The beasts scattered in panic, leaving just Talia and me behind. 9. Talia stood completely still, as if rooted to the spot. I sighed, let's head home first, and turned toward the house. The once ferocious boy now trailed behind with slumped shoulders and sullen silence. Back home, I crossed my arms and looked up at Talia, now slightly taller than me, putting on a cold front and forcing an air of authority. Talk, why the fight? Talia turned her face away, muttering under her breath, no reason, they had it coming. I took a deep breath and asked repeatedly, but got the same answer, no need for pretense now. I'm genuinely furious. Talia, do you realize you nearly killed him just now? Is human life that trivial in your eyes? Do you just hit whoever you want without asking why? Seeing the disappointment in my eyes, Talia finally grasped the gravity of the situation. Her previous nonchalance vanished as she flustered. Sis, no, that's not how I am. I had my reasons for hitting them. Sis, fine. Still not telling the truth, seeing my indifferent and cold expression, Talia completely panicked and finally confessed the reason. Sis, I only hit them because they insulted you first. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, I wasn't being reckless. Talia's voice grew increasingly broken as tears welled up in her eyes, her words choked with sobs. Sis, please don't be disappointed in me. That's not who I am. I never meant to kill him. Sis, please don't send me away. Seeing Talia running further off course and losing control, I rushed over and hugged the distraught little mare-child. How could Big Sister ever send Talia away? Talia's my only family in this world. I cherish her too much to ever drive her away. The sorrowful little mare-child lifted their head from the crook of my neck, their eyes rimmed red from crying. Really, you're not tricking me, sis, I swore earnestly. Of course. When have I ever lied to you? Little Dayu saw I wasn't angry anymore and started making counter-accusations. Sis, you misunderstood me earlier and were so cold. I'm really hurt. I gave an awkward chuckle. Isn't it because I was worried when you wouldn't explain? Talia nestled back into the crook of my neck like an eagle, squeezing into a sparrow's nest, all pouty and sulky. But you were really scary just now, sis. I was so afraid you'd get mad and kick me out. I patted the smooth fish head, then I'll apologize to Talia. I'm sorry, poor Talia. I hope the kind and lovely Talia can forgive me. As if embarrassed, Talia buried herself deeper into the crook of my neck. It's not your fault, sis. They're the ones to blame. You were just worried about me. That's when I remembered the real issue. Next time you pick a fight, check your opponent's strength first. Got it? Don't just charge in. What if you get hurt? And go easy if they're not much of a threat. Are you worried about me? I'm so happy. Don't worry, sis. I know what I'm doing. Watching the lively little big fish bounce back, I sighed and gave in. Fine then. 10. Ever since then, Talia's been clinging to me more and more. She used to play with other beasts occasionally, but now she won't even step outside. Just stays home all day following me around like a shadow. Can't even scold him. The moment I try, those liquid silver eyes well up pitifully, asking if I'm abandoning him. How could anyone stay mad at that? Guess I'll just have to live with the monster I've spoiled. It's not like I can toss him out now. 3 years have flown by since I found Talia. I've even landed my dream research job, something I never achieved in my past life. Talia has graduated from the Orc Academy, transforming from a tiny bundle that barely reached my knees into a towering figure who now stands a full head taller than me. Gotta admit, orcs really do grow up fast. If I hadn't cooked all her meals myself, I'd swear Talia was raised on growth hormones. The grown-up Talia bears an uncanny resemblance to her past self, perhaps due to her younger age. Talia now possesses an ethereal beauty so refined it transcends gender, almost too perfect to be real. Even I occasionally find myself spellbound, let alone those wide-eyed creatures who've never seen such magnificence. Back then, creatures of every species, male or female, winged or earthbound, would court Talia daily. Knowing Talia hadn't undergone differentiation yet, they'd pull out all the stops trying to trigger the process. The constant harassment drove Talia up the wall, and she had to beat some sense into them before they finally behaved. But there was one exception. A black bear beast man who'd been beaten by Talia as a cub kept pestering her relentlessly, constantly demanding she become his wife. He even claimed, spare the rod and spoil the love. The harsher the beating, the deeper the affection. Talia had no choice but to hit harder, leaving the black bear with broken limbs every time it crawled back. That day, seeing the black bear limping away covered in blood again, I couldn't help but click my tongue and remark, this Jet, the black bear's name, really is persistent. Then I turned to Talia, who was slightly out of breath after the fight, and teased, maybe he's your true love. Why not give him a chance? Talia flew into a rage, bristling like a cat whose tail got stepped on. Celine, tisk, where are your manners? Call me sister properly. Talia's eyes burned with fury. What kind of sister are you? How could you just pawn me off on someone else? The more I spoke, the more upset I became, voice trembling as if I'd suffered some terrible injustice. Are you getting tired of me? Oh God. I took it too far. I swear I was just joking. I rushed to explain. No, I'd never find you annoying. I was just joking. Really, you gotta believe me. How could someone like Jet ever be worthy of our universally adored Talia? She deserves at least a stunning beauty. Talia felt the fire in her chest blaze hotter at Celine's careless words, itching to silence that hurtful mouth, but she couldn't bring herself to hurt her sister, so she chose to hide instead. My frantic explanations only poured fuel on the flames. Talia got even angrier and stormed off to her room. Are mermaids this temperamental nowadays? Or am I just too good at pissing people off that even fish get depressed? 11. Ever since I annoyed the big fish into retreating to her room at noon, Talia hasn't come out all afternoon. She usually keeps me company in the living room. Must have really hurt her feelings this time. Sigh, still don't know what caused it, but I'd better start making it up to her. I specially bought Talia's favorite sea fish this afternoon, hoping she'd forgive me for the fish's sake, but when dinner time came, Talia still hadn't come out. That's not like her. She's been mad before, but never like this. I crept up to Talia's door like a sneaky little thief. My dearest Talia, dinner's ready. I made your favorite sea base. No response. I leaned closer, only to find the door unlatched. It swung open under my weight. A scandalously vivid scene assaulted my vision. Talia lay bare-chested in the bathtub, her bony hands dangling limply over the edges. Her soaked silver hair clung to her chest, faintly revealing glimpses of pink. Her silver gray eyes shimmered with moisture, clouded like mist. Her damp, sensual lips parted intermittently, occasionally flashing a crimson tongue, while beads of sweat glistened on her forehead, tinting her neck and chest a delicate pink. This is clearly a sign of differentiation. Oh no, did I make Talia so angry that she differentiated on the spot? I hurried forward. Talia, how are you holding up? But the merfolk undergoing transformation remained completely unconscious, let alone capable of responding. Talia was utterly consumed by the feverish transformation, her brow furrowed as her icy blue tail thrashed restlessly against the bathtub, seeking relief from the scorching waves through pain, yet this proved utterly futile. A scorching heat surged through his body like wildfire, spreading from his chest until it became unbearable. Sister, I'm burning up. What? I leaned down, bringing my ear close to Talia's lips. A warm breath brushed against my ear, sending tingles down my spine. A deep, melodious whisper curled around my ear and seeped into my heart. Sis, so hot. Ah, poor Talia. I placed my hand on Talia's head, gently stroking the mermaid's forehead. Damn, her forehead's burning up, hot enough to fry an egg. Hang in there, Talia. Every mermaid goes through this phase. Just tough it out a bit longer, and smooth sailing awaits. I was in the middle of talking excitedly when suddenly a pair of burning hands pressed against the back of mine. It gave me quite a start. Oh, it's just Talia. Never mind then. Tormented by differentiation fever, Talia was like a desert mirage, the relentless heat scorching away all reason. A sudden coolness spread across my forehead, offering brief respite from the heat, but to the raging fire within, this was merely a drizzle, only intensifying the craving for icy relief. No longer content with just grasping, Talia yanked me straight into the bathtub with one forceful pull. By the time I realized what was happening, Talia had already coiled around my entire body, leaving me completely immobilized. Scorching breath grazed my ear as burning lips trailed along my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Cradling the cool mermaid's entire form, I sighed contentedly, my brows relaxing as I whispered, "Sister," tenderly. His aquiline nose brushed against my cheek intermittently, radiating intimate warmth through our pressed bodies. I felt his frantic heartbeat. Soon my own pulse spiraled out of control, heat flooding my cheeks. It's so hot, but I can't move at all. Talia, sis. The soothed mermaid regained some consciousness, her silvery gray eyes fluttering open. You're holding me too tight. I can't breathe. The newly awakened mermaid, still dazed, only caught the words, hold tight. and so Celine found herself trapped even more firmly, facing the mermaid's clueless gaze mid-transformation. I was utterly speechless. "You need to loosen up a bit." Talia's eyes widened in shock, as if I just made some outrageous demand, her expression practically accusing my 98.6 F mouth of spewing such icy words. I shot her a look. Puppy dog eyes wouldn't work this time. Talia reluctantly eased her grip, by a fraction, under my death glare. Talia loosened her grip slightly. Ugh. Finally able to breathe again, the mermaid who'd been told to stay away by her beloved looked utterly wronged. Tears welling in the corners of her eyes. "Big sis, I feel awful, I'm falling apart, hold me tight." "Aren't I holding you right now?" He kept playing the victim, "but there's still so much space between us, I can't even feel you anymore, sis, it's so hot, sis, am I dying?" I looked around doubtfully. Was it really that far? The hopeful mermaid kept gazing at me with pitiful eyes. "Fine, but just a tiny bit closer." The triumphant mermaid suppressed her excitement and hugged me tighter, nuzzling into the crook of my neck as she cooed, "Sis, you're the best, look at this giant fish. Acting all clingy, just wait till you sober up and remember what you've done. I bet you'll die of embarrassment." 12. After what felt like forever, Talia's feverish heat finally subsided, leaving half my body completely numb. Who knew I'd be the one suffering through Talia's transformation? Just as I was about to leave, I suddenly felt something hard pressing against my waist. "What the hell is that?" As I started to look down, Talia abruptly lifted my chin, her cheeks burning crimson. I let out a shrill scream. I only remembered the transformation, completely forgetting it determines our gender. Mermaids have no gender before transformation. I totally forgot about that. Was that what I think it was just now? I actually considered looking down to check. No worries. As long as I'm not embarrassed, then the embarrassment isn't mine. My face turned beet red. "So, you're feeling better now, right? I should probably get going." I tried to stand up and leave, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. I gave an awkward chuckle, numb as hell. LOL. Even after full differentiation, Talia retained her delicate features, though now carrying an intimidating aura absent before. Broad-shouldered with a narrow waist, her nearly 2-meter-long crystalline blue tail was both elegant and powerfully built, radiating tremendous strength. She bore the same face as her past life. Yet this incarnation of Talia carried less of that bloodthirsty aura. Talia flashed a radiant smile, her voice crisp and deep. "Then let me carry you, sister." Before I could utter "no," Talia rose from the water, her mermaid tail transforming into a man's muscular legs as she stepped naked from the tub. "See no evil." I clapped both hands over my eyes in a flash. I thought I caught the sound of a delightful little chuckle. Since when did post-differentiation Talia become so uncouth? "Give me back my adorable little mermaid." Talia in baggy gray sleep pants crouched down, her voice husky and low. "Sis, you ready? I'm carrying you back now." "Why ask? Just scoop me up already. If my limbs weren't numb and useless right now, I wouldn't need your help." "Weirdo," I murmured a soft and opened my eyes. "Good, you're wearing pants. But hot stuff, where's your shirt?" "Do all merfolk come out this flaming after metamorphosis?" Talia scooped me up in a bridal carry, one arm supporting my back while the other cradled behind my knees, pressed against Talia's chest. Even through the fabric, it felt like our skin was touching directly. Their scorching body heat seeped into my skin, especially where their hands gripped me with an almost possessive intensity. I could even faintly trace the contours of their abdominal muscles through the contact. My eyes had nowhere to rest, so I could only lower my head in silence. That's when I noticed my clothes were soaked through, practically see-through. Even the collar was all askew, revealing pale skin where Talia had yanked at it during the confrontation. No wonder she asked if I was ready. "Is it gonna kill you to grab me a piece of clothing?" I just collapsed onto Talia with complete existential despair. Some people appear alive, but they're already dead inside. "Don't ask. If you must know, I died of sheer embarrassment." Talia dropped me off at the door, and I quickly slipped inside, shutting it behind me. 13. Hey, if you run fast enough, embarrassment can't catch up. I think Talia fried some brain cells during her differentiation phase. I've got proof. They've been acting extra spicy lately. During dinner, Talia deliberately loosened her collar while cooing. "Sis, it's so hot, aren't you feeling warm too? Open your eyes, dummy. There's 3 feet of snow outside." Cooking shirtless on purpose, Aren't you scared of oil splatters, you reckless fool, sis? Could you tie my apron strings? I can't reach them properly. What else could I do? He was clearly in no condition to refuse, not that I was trying to get a closer look at those abs or anything. Whenever my hand accidentally brushed against him, Talia would shiver. With a sensual gasp, I swear I didn't do anything, he's just being oversensitive. Definitely not my fault. Even washing his hair turns into a whole production. The outline of his sculpted 8-pack abs showed faintly through the sheer fabric as Talia fixed me with an innocent gaze, his strikingly handsome features almost too perfect. Big sis, could you dry my hair for me? I swallowed hard, forcing composure as I took the towel and began dabbing gently. Meanwhile, my mind was screaming internally. Is this a seduction? This has to be a seduction. Talia's silver hair felt divine, cool, silken strands that caught the sunlight with a subtle glow. Impossible to stop touching. Talia squinted contentedly and slowly leaned into my arms. I admired my handiwork with satisfaction. What a thorough cleaning. My gaze drifted downward, casually tracing Talia's damp shirt clinging to her abdomen. This one's been cleaned just as thoroughly. In short, Talia has successfully evolved into a total hottie. 14. A mermaid trying to imitate peacocks every day. That's just shameless, yet here I am, supposedly proper, secretly thirsting over him. I'm despicable. No, I need a couple days to cool off, to minimize contact. I stopped having Talia pick me up. After leaving the research institute, I just stay in my room avoiding unnecessary outings. Talia's been rarely home lately, though I've no idea what's keeping her busy. Come to think of it, we've barely seen each other lately. I should be glad about it. But somehow I feel strangely hollow. Just as I stepped out of the research institute, Wilder, my senior who's actually a Samoyed in his true form, called out to me. His smile was utterly disarming, his tone gentle. Celine, let me walk you home. It's not safe for a girl to go back alone at night. I was about to refuse when Wilder added, consider it thanks for helping me last time. With a resigned smile, I had to agree. Senior Wilder was an exceptionally kind orc, while others of his kind reveled in combat. He preferred research and was remarkably sociable. Wilder's witty company made the trip home pleasant, just the right distance without any discomfort. All right, mission accomplished. Got you home safe and sound. I'll head back now. Thanks, Senior. Travel safely. Wilder smiled and waved in response. I turned to head home and saw the lights were on. Was Talia back? I didn't even realize how happy I was at that moment. The moment I got home, Talia swiftly pinned me against the door. He braced his hands on either side of me, trapping me tightly. A tense atmosphere hung in the air. Talia fixed me with an intense stare, her eyes narrowed, speaking in a dangerously soft and measured tone despite her smile. Sis, tell me, who was that who just brought you home? I'd never seen Talia like this before, frozen in place. I found myself answering whatever she asked without thinking. He's a senior researcher at the institute, sis. Is he the reason you wouldn't let me pick you up? Do you want him to give you a ride instead? No, I never intended for him to take me. Then, do you like him, sis? With a look that clearly said, what nonsense are you spouting? I replied, of course not. Apparently satisfied with my answer, Talia finally dropped her defensive posture, her whole body visibly relaxing. Good girl, sis. I face-bombed internally. Talia lifted her head from the crook of my neck, looking at me with wounded eyes. Then why wouldn't you let me pick you up? Sis, are you avoiding me? You already know the answer. Why are you avoiding me, sis? Did I do something wrong? I kept my mouth shut like a scared quail. Why won't you answer me, sis? What should I say? That I'm lusting after you, that I'm shameless and ran away because I couldn't control myself. You may not care about saving face, but I certainly do. I kept looking around in silence, but Talia seemed determined to pick a fight, insisting I respond. I had no choice but to give a half-hearted answer. I just think we should keep some distance now that you're grown up. It's better for both of us. Somehow Talia caught the gist and, far from being angry, actually brightened up with a cheerful lilt in her voice. So big sister finally noticed I'd been seducing you. What kind of shameless talk is this? Completely unfazed by my shock, Talia then shifted to looking utterly pitiful with puppy dog eyes. But didn't you enjoy it, sis? You always seemed to like it when I teased you. You can't just use me and throw me away. Ah, shut up. Stop talking. I quickly covered that shameless mouth. Talia whimpered twice, her accusatory gaze fixed on me like I was some heartless villain. Good folks, I swear I did nothing wrong. He's the one spinning tales, and now my reputation's in tatters. My eyes flashed with murderous intensity. Stop spouting nonsense, or I won't let go. Talia nodded timidly like a bullied bride under my domineering gaze. Only then did I release my grip, exhaling deeply. A few more lines like this and my poor heart won't take it. I love you, sis. Do you love me too? I took a deep breath. Ambulance, seeing the earnest look on Talia's face, I couldn't bring myself to ask, how can you be sure it's love and not just dependency? I could sense his sincerity and didn't want to hurt him with such words or cast doubt on his feelings, but I didn't know how to respond. Because I wasn't sure about my own feelings toward him. Let's be real, it's impossible to say I don't have any feelings for him, but I can't tell if it's genuine affection from spending time together or just physical attraction. I'm such a horn dog, though I hate to admit it, sobbing internally. In the end, I decided to come clean. I'm not sure if I like you, but I don't mind your touch. In fact, I might even enjoy it a little. Talia's eyes suddenly lit up with hope, her entire mermaid form radiating renewed optimism after the long wait. Sis, this is perfect just as it is. I'll wait for the day you truly fall for me. With that, she pulled me into a tight embrace, breathing in Talia's salt and mint scent. My restless heart finally settled after days of unease. I whispered silently to myself, I'll be waiting for that day too. When I asked Talia why she'd been leaving early and returning late lately, she straightened up with sudden formality. 15. I was going to bring this up today too, sister. Have I ever told you why I was cast ashore? Yes. What about it? I asked, puzzled. Talia's eyes were filled with solemnity. Choose Little Tiger bought for secure document protection and book searching, reliable, stable, and hassle-free. My father Zeno knocked me unconscious and threw me ashore. The oracle said he would fall by my hand, so he tried to eliminate me on land beforehand, but my uncle intervened, and that's how I survived. Talia gazed at me tenderly. That's when I met my sister. Recently my uncle tracked me down. He and Zeno are vying for control over the merfolk's voice, and he wants me to return to support him. I agreed. Talia held my hand tightly. Sis, please wait for me. Okay, don't fall for anyone else. I'll be back soon. Within a year at most. I promise I'll return within a year. I squeezed her hand firmly in response. I promise, but you must come back safely. No reckless actions. If I find out you're risking your life, I'll never forgive you. Talia's eyes flickered momentarily. Don't worry, I'll come back safe and sound. I won't let anyone lay a finger on my sister. No one. He left just days after finally opening up to Talia. At first, I struggled to adjust. The house felt so empty, every corner filled with memories of life with Talia. 16. But as time passed without her, I gradually grew accustomed to living alone, though I still think of him often, so I buried myself in work, hoping longer hours would dull the longing. Yet when night falls after work, Talia still crosses my mind, wondering how she's faring at sea, if she's hurt, when she'll return. I think I've fallen for Talia. I've started counting the days until Talia's return. With just days left until the year's end, I kept rehearsing in my mind hundreds of times what I'd say when I saw Talia, but when Talia still hadn't returned by the final day, panic started creeping in. Talia had always kept her word without fail. Why would this time be any different? I refused to entertain dark thoughts, clinging instead to the hope that she must have been delayed or injured. He promised he'd return safely. His word was good enough for me. Just like that, half a year flew by without a single word from Talia. Truth be told, I'd been living quite fulfilling days, working on what I love every day. What more could I ask for? The dean's recent matchmaking efforts are giving me a real headache. I keep telling him I'm already seeing someone, but that stubborn old man won't believe me. He goes, how come I don't know about this? Celine, you're turning 22 in 6 months. If you're not worried, I'm worried for you. Blah blah blah. The whole 9 yards. Seeing how firm I was, he switched tactics. Now he's trying to set me up under the guise of work introductions. Is this leopard across from me the 5th one this month? What is this? A stamp collection? I face-bombed with a wry smile. That dean, honestly, after my repeated stern rejections, read, desperate pleas, the dean finally backed off, still puzzled about why all the beast men he'd introduced recently showed up bruised and battered. No wonder they say tigers are troublemakers. Now I've seen it firsthand. 17. I've been working late every night recently, so for safety reasons, the dean specifically arranged for Senior Wilder to walk me home. Better safe than sorry. So I agreed. Lately I keep feeling like someone's following me. It's better to be cautious. After dinner at the cafeteria, one of the seniors told me someone was looking for me. My first thought was that Talia had returned. So I immediately rushed to the location my senior mentioned. I dashed there with my heart racing, only to find Nico waiting at the spot. It felt like someone had dumped a bucket of ice water over me. My disappointment was written all over my face. Why is it you? Nico raised an eyebrow with a faint smirk. What's wrong, sis? Disappointed. It's not that fish. I kept a straight face. Don't call me sis. You're not worthy. Nico felt a surge of rage when he saw Celine's icy expression toward him. I was the first to call you sister. I came first. I'm the one you raised with care. He's just my replacement. Seeing Nico's indignant expression, I couldn't help but laugh, and did so outright. What gave you the audacity to be this delusional, Nico? We've been done ever since you played me. Nico began fumbling through his explanation. Sis, you've got to believe me. It was just a stupid joke. I never meant for you to actually get sent to the comfort house. I came looking for you later. They said you were doing fine. I cut him off mid-performance, unwilling to endure his pathetic act, trusting you landed me in the asylum. Torn apart by orcs. What, you want me to go through that again? No, I didn't, sis. I swear I didn't. Nico denied with shattered eyes glistening with tears. You're punishing me, aren't you? Yes, this is revenge. You're angry I broke my promise. You love me too much to truly abandon me. This is your twisted way of teaching me a lesson, using that damned fish to provoke me. Nico's words grew increasingly incoherent yet more self-convinced, until she lurched forward eagerly to grab my hand. Sis, your revenge worked. Seeing you with that fish is killing me. I'll never lie to you again. Please forgive me. Can't we just go back to how things were? I took a quick step back, shattering his delusion outright. We can never go back. You're not even worth my revenge. Getting tangled with someone like you must be my karma. I never liked you, let alone loved you. You were just family to me. I only agreed to marry you to avoid the comfort house. It could have been anyone. You said yes, so I didn't look elsewhere. Celine's merciless words pierced through Nico like knives, leaving gaping wounds that threatened to topple him with the slightest breeze. Ha 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 ha, never loved me. She said she never even liked me. Ha 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 ha, tears streaming down his face. Nico roared in bitter defiance. I don't believe you. You're lying. How could you claim you never even liked me? You're doing this to get back at me, aren't you? Yes, this is revenge. Nico glared at Celine's indifferent expression, his heart burning with resentment. How dare you remain unmoved by my pleas? I'll make you suffer just like I did. Do you really think that fish is so great? Aren't you curious why he never came back for you? Nico's face twisted with malice. Let me tell you, a month ago he became king of the merfolk, murdered his own father and uncle. Ha ha ha, he'd slaughter his own flesh and blood. You think he's some saint? You're nothing to him. If he wanted to return, he'd have done it by now, I said flatly. Are you done? Nico's smile froze on his face like a pathetic clown. Who the hell do you think you are to judge him? You're not even fit to lick his boots. Celine, you can't do this to me. You just can't. Last warning. Never contact me again. You make me sick. I turned and walked away, leaving Nico to spiral into madness behind me. That evening, I declined Senior Wilder's offer to walk me home. I froze in my tracks just steps from my doorstep. 18. Show yourself. Not a sound. This is your last chance. If you don't come out now, you'll never see daylight again. After some rustling noises, Talia slowly emerged 2 meters behind me. You little rascal. I knew it was you. Just as he was about to grasp my sleeve, I quickened my pace toward home. Talia walked obediently behind me with her head bowed, her tall frame completely eclipsing mine. Once home, I crossed my arms and swatted away Talia's reaching hand. When did you get back? Talia shot me a cautious glance. 20 days ago. I let out a cold laugh. So you've been back for 20 days already? Wonderful. Why didn't you return after a year? I want the truth. Talia whispered softly. I'm injured. Can't return. How were you wounded? What merfolk could possibly harm you? Talia was a natural-born warrior among the merfolk, a race that prizes innate talent above all. even in her previous life, when she carried countless hidden wounds. None could rival her strength, even with less combat experience in this lifetime, an injury keeping her bedridden for months is unthinkable. Took a knife from my uncle. I laughed in bitter fury. Well done, Talia, taking a blade for the uncle you were supposed to kill. What filial piety. I finally lost control and roared in anger. What did you promise me before leaving? You swore you'd protect yourself, that your safety would come first. And this is how you keep your word. My voice trembled with rising emotion, eyes glistening with unshed tears. You said you'd be back within a year at most, but you were over 6 months late. 6 whole months. Do you have any idea what these 6 months were like for me? Every single day I worried sick, terrified something might happen to you. I couldn't even bear to think about you not coming back, with no news, no way to reach you. All I could do was pray for your safe return. And what about you? Tears streamed down my face. You rushed to take a blade for someone else without a thought for my feelings. Was I just supposed to wait forever, watching Celine's emotional outburst? Talia finally panicked, her lips trembling. Sis, please don't cry. This is all my fault. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand, voice trembling as I struggled to compose myself. Tell me, why didn't you come find me after returning? Why were you following me? Talia's heart shattered seeing Celine like this, realizing how terribly wrong he'd been. His eyes held broken remorse, his voice quivering. I was 6 months late, afraid you'd resent me, afraid you'd despise me for killing my birth father and uncle. Her voice choked up at the end. But I missed you, so I followed you, sis. Tears streamed down my face again as I smiled bitterly. So you made me wait another 20 days. If I hadn't called you today, would you have kept me waiting even longer? Talia completely broke down, crying like a guilty child. Sister, please hit me. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have disobeyed you, neglected my health, made you wait so long, disregarded your feelings, or assumed you despised me. It's all my fault. Talia raised her tear-reddened eyes, whimpering in anguish as she gingerly took my hand. I'll never do it again, sis, I swear. Please forgive me, I really won't ever. Suppressing my unease, I hurriedly explained. No, it's not that I don't trust you. Maybe I'm just too scared. For someone who's already died once, nothing matters more than staying alive. Listening to Talia's broken sobs, my heart ached in sympathy. Part of why Talia dares not return is my fault. I failed to give her enough sense of security. I gently stroked Talia's hair, my voice soft. Talia, I can finally answer the question you asked before leaving. Meeting Talia's disbelieving gaze, I said firmly, I like you too. Talia froze for a moment, then broke into a smile that soon turned into quiet sobs as she clung to me tightly. I love you, sis, and I'm sorry for making you wait so long. I smiled with relief and hugged her back just as tightly. It's okay, we have a lifetime to walk together. Story 2, I'm the substitute for Isaac's first love. In the second year of being his devoted admirer, a virus broke out and zombies rampaged. The system told me that if I successfully capture his heart, I can return to my original world and regain my healthy body unexpectedly, in order to save his first love, who had turned into a zombie. Isaac actually took my heart and also revealed his identity as a system task performer. Later, his first love became an ordinary existence, and even though he became the king of zombies, he couldn't let go of me. However, I fell in love with Dr. George, who helped Isaac take my heart. A little over a year ago, I came to this world and became Isaac's classmate in the same department. In order to win his affection, I tried all kinds of ways to pursue someone, but none of them worked, because I knew that he was still waiting for his first love, Hazel, who had gone abroad. After half a year of enthusiastic pursuit, I found that he wasn't as gentle and refined as he seemed on the surface, but rather a paranoid and obsessive person. For example, he would gently smile and accept other people's gifts and love letters, but then turn around and throw them into the trash can, and take out antiseptic wipes to wipe his hands with a look of disgust on his face. However, judging from the blood-stained gauze that he always carried in his pocket, he didn't have a cleanliness obsession. It was said that the blood-stained gauze was left by Hazel when she saved him in a car accident during high school. I didn't know when I could move his heart, but I couldn't give up because my parents and brother were still waiting for me to go back. Finally, one day, I suddenly received his call at night. Phoebe, be my girlfriend, he murmured in a low voice, as if he was drunk. Okay. The system told me that Isaac's first love had dumped him and hooked up with a super rich man abroad. The reason why I was chosen by him among his many suitors was just that I looked the most like Hazel. So what? I was willing to stay with him as a substitute, as long as he was willing to give me 100 favorability points. In the following year, I tried my best to please Isaac. I would wash his dirty clothes clean, fold them neatly, and send them back to his dormitory. I would bring him a nutritious breakfast every morning. When we went shopping, I would take the initiative to carry things for him and buy him iced Coke. Because of my unprecedented behavior of being a devoted admirer, there was even a war of words on the school forum between those who supported me as a model girlfriend and those who called me a brainless devoted admirer. So, whenever someone walked past me, they would give me strange looks. She's at least the belle of the department, yet she's willing to be a devoted admirer. She always acts so cold and aloof, but when it comes to our campus heartthrob, she's just groveling at his feet. It's a pity that Isaac doesn't seem to care much about her. Maybe he still has that Hazel who went abroad in his heart. Gossip and rumors filled my ears, but I didn't care, because my efforts finally paid off. Although Isaac's attitude was still lukewarm, the favorability points kept rising steadily. When the favorability points reached 50, the system told me that the virus was about to break out and that I should make preparations in advance to save the life of the target of my pursuit. 2. Since the difficulty of the task was further increased, the system asked me to choose a special supernatural ability to deal with the apocalypse and complete the task. Because I was afraid of death, I chose the healing ability. While resisting the zombie virus, I could also avoid losing limbs in this extremely dangerous world. On the day of the apocalypse, when everyone was desperately running out, I went against the crowd, picked up an iron rod, and broke into Isaac's dormitory. With the blessing of my ability, I pulled him along and, without any scruples, fought and beat the zombies all the way, breaking through the siege, and finally found a safe place in the city. Isaac was very shocked and looked at me with a complicated expression. Phoebe, I didn't know you were so strong. However, thank you for coming to the dormitory to save me. On that day, the favorability points increased by 10, and I was very pleased. Later, food was in short supply, and the people in the safe place had been hungry for 3 days. They had to form teams to go out and collect food. I secretly stuffed the food I had saved for Isaac. Isaac looked at the biscuits in my hand. Phoebe, you haven't eaten enough these days, have you? I denied it. No, I have a small appetite, I just couldn't finish it, so I left some. In fact, I was also very hungry, but I knew that the food given in this situation could move him. Isaac's eyes flickered slightly with emotion. You keep it and eat it slowly later. In case we can't find food, this little bit can still help you last a few more days. I insisted on giving it to him. You're a boy, and you eat more and have more strength. I'll rely on you to protect me later when we go out. Don't refuse. Ding, the favorability points increase by 10. Now the favorability points of your target of pursuit are 70. Please keep working hard. Host, the prompt sound of the system came to my ears. Isaac didn't say anything more. He ate the biscuits. After getting armed, he took me and joined others to go to the large supermarket on the next street. I followed Isaac closely all the way, for fear that he would die if I didn't pay attention. After killing the few zombies wandering in the warehouse, everyone started to carry the supplies. When I was on guard, I suddenly saw a large number of zombies pouring into the main door of the warehouse. After giving the warning, we started to gather the team urgently and retreated quickly from the back door. At the moment when the door was about to close, a pair of rotten hands grabbed towards Isaac. My heart skipped a beat, and my body reacted before my consciousness. I pushed Isaac away, but my arm was scratched until the skin and flesh were torn, and on Isaac's shoulder, a shallow blood mark was unfortunately scratched. 3. We were left behind by the team. Isaac took me and hid in a safe hotel. I was in a low mood because Isaac had a 50% chance of turning into a zombie, which would mean the failure of my task. When we got to the room, he became very hot all over. Phoebe, stay away from me. If I mutate, you kill me. I hugged him tightly with empty eyes and didn't let go, unwilling to accept the fate of my impending death due to the failure of the task. If you mutate, I can't live either. Isaac's eyes were deep and he didn't say anything more. The system prompted me that the favorability points had increased by 15. The emotion between life and death could indeed more easily bring about an increase in favorability points. Half an hour later, Isaac's body temperature had risen to an extraordinary level, and his consciousness was scattered. I used the points I got from the increase in favorability points to exchange for cold water from the system. I took the hotel towel and gave him physical cooling again and again. I don't know how long it took. My cheek felt slightly itchy in my sleep. I opened my eyes, and it was Isaac gently caressing me. We're both okay now. Isaac turned out to be lucky and awakened the fire ability. When he asked me, I showed him my smooth and flawless arm. Isaac's eyes were full of disbelief. I told him that I had awakened the healing ability. Later, the zombies mutated again, and humanoid monsters, that is, low-level strange species, began to appear in the city. Before the safe place completely fell, Isaac and I moved to the human survivor base in the north. After arriving at the northern base, we joined the team that went out to collect supplies. And Isaac's ability became stronger and stronger through repeated training. Gradually, his status in the base became higher and higher, but his favorability points towards me remained at 85 and didn't make any progress, until one day, I heard from others that he had brought back a female zombie. That was his first love, Hazel. It was said that when the virus first broke out, Hazel and her rich boyfriend were traveling in the capital city. Later, when the whole country fell, she was forced to be trapped in the northern base. In order to survive, she and her former rich boyfriend had to go out with everyone to find food. During a collection operation, they encountered a large-scale siege of zombies. In order to save his own life, the rich boyfriend pushed Hazel into the group of zombies and fled alone. I heard that as soon as Isaac entered our base, he disabled Hazel's boyfriend and threw him into the group of zombies. Is this to avenge his former girlfriend? He's really infatuated. Hazel has already turned into a zombie, but he still brought her back. It's impossible to rekindle their old love, right? Ha ha ha. But at least we don't have to see Hazel's pretentious and bitchy look anymore. I heard that Hazel is locked in Dr. George's laboratory. Dr. George is one of the top geniuses in the world. Since the zombie outbreak, he has been researching the virus vaccine. Maybe he can really succeed, then Isaac will get what he wants. Tisk tisk tsk. It's just a pity for that Phoebe. I heard that she was crazy about Isaac when they were at school. If she knew about this, she would definitely make a big scene. Listening to the gossip collected by the system, I was quite surprised. Even though Hazel had become a zombie, it didn't stop Isaac's paranoid affection for her. After all, she was just a walking corpse and shouldn't affect my pursuit task. So, I didn't care about the fact that Isaac was secretly keeping her until one day, Isaac came to me and begged me to go to Dr. George's laboratory with him and donate blood to save Hazel. For Phoebe, your ability is special. You just need to draw a small amount of blood for Dr. George to study, if he can extract the virus vaccine. It can not only save Hazel but also the whole world. You can understand me, right? Sorry, I can't understand, but it doesn't matter, as long as you're happy and give me some favorability points. Okay, I'll agree to anything you want. I nodded and agreed, and Isaac couldn't wait to take me to the core laboratory of the base. After going through many checkpoints, I finally met the legendary Dr. George. A talented and handsome young man in his 20s, he was wearing smart projection glasses and a white lab coat. The buttons of the gray shirt inside were neatly buttoned up to his Adam's apple, making him look gentle and abstinent. As expected, he lives up to his name. He's tall and graceful. Hello, Miss Phoebe, I'm George. George looked regretful. After injecting me with a dose of medicine, I fell into a deep sleep. Host, the system detects that you are in an extremely dangerous state. This system has activated the electric shock awakening mode. Please immediately activate the self-healing function, otherwise the task will fail. I was awakened by the system. I just felt that my chest was numb and cold. I looked down and the bloody scene made me feel nauseous. At the position of my heart in my chest, the skin and flesh were forcibly opened by the dilator, and my bright red heart was still beating regularly. Why are you awake? George was puzzled. The specially made anesthetic should at least make people sleep for a day and a night. What are you doing? I looked at Isaac beside me and saw a body with a blue complexion lying next to him. It was Hazel. Phoebe, you said that you would agree to anything I want. Now I want your heart. Since you love me so much, you will definitely agree, right?" Isaac looked affectionate, and with the gentlest voice, he said the most vicious words. "You lied to me, didn't you say that you only needed my blood?" I was very angry. After all, I had been a devoted admirer of Isaac for so long, even a wild dog should have been tamed by now, but he was actually so heartless as to want my life. Isaac looked full of apologies. He leaned over beside me and said gently, "I'm sorry, the system said that only your heart can make her turn back into a human." "System? What do you mean by?" the system said. "Come out and explain it." The system, which always replied to me instantly, was silent. Presumably, it was also confused by Isaac's actions. The moment George took away my heart, I immediately activated the self-healing function and protected my body functions at the first time. After a while, the system finally spoke. "Host, just now this system connected to the main brain and found a loophole error. Another system has invaded this world at the same time. Their task objective is to save the former first love and become the master of the base. We originally thought that the difficulty of our pursuit target was ordinary, but due to the intervention of the other system, the difficulty has now been upgraded. It's very difficult for a novice like you to complete. Since the task cannot be completed due to objective reasons, the main brain has agreed to replace it with another ordinary task for us for free. What do you think?" 5. Change it. I'm still quite unwilling to give up now. After all, I've been a devoted admirer for more than a year, and all of it has become a sunk cost. Looking at the task objective on the virtual panel. Lead the northern base to resist the biggest wave of zombie hordes 2 years later. Kill the zombie king and preserve the human spark. I was finally able to give up the humiliating identity of a devoted admirer, and I felt a burst of joy in my heart. Over the past year or so, as Isaac's favorability points increased, the system gave me a large number of reward points according to the previous task. The items that could be exchanged in the system mall were all props such as beauty enhancement and cooking skill enhancement. Now that the task objective has been changed, the items in the mall have been completely updated. In addition to hot weapons, there are also props that enhance abilities such as agility enhancement, endurance enhancement, and weapon proficiency enhancement. Looking at the long string of numbers of points, I felt extremely at ease. After exchanging all the props that strengthened my physique, I quietly waited for the opportunity and prepared to escape. After Hazel completed the heart transplantation surgery, Isaac didn't even look at me again and pushed her out. George picked up the artificial heart beside him and walked towards me. He keenly noticed that the sprout of a heart began to grow in my empty chest. Miss Phoebe, you're really different." George was full of interest. I immediately pointed the pistol I exchanged at his head and threatened, "Don't move. Be careful that I accidentally fire." George smiled with his eyes and eyebrows, and didn't speak for a while. At this time, the sound of the guard's footsteps came from outside the door, but for some reason, they didn't come in. "Miss Phoebe, don't be nervous. We're not enemies." Seeing that George didn't call anyone to stop me, I calmed down. "But you helped him take away my precious heart." George smiled helplessly. "His father once saved my grandfather." "George, what's your purpose?" "You will be the key to the research of the zombie virus vaccine." George looked at me with burning eyes. If that was really the case, he had already obtained my blood just now. Why did he still keep me? "Miss Phoebe, live research can obtain samples infinitely, while the role of samples from the dead is limited." As if he knew what I was thinking, George continued, "I promise that I won't leak a single word about today's matter, but you have to provide me with your blood regularly. In return, I will help you solve all the troubles in the base, including Isaac." "Okay." As one of the people in power of the base, George has absolute say here. With his help, I moved to a house far away from Isaac and even became the captain of a search team. When Isaac learned that I had come out of the laboratory, he came to my door. I leaned against the door, turning him away. "Phoebe, don't be angry. You're perfectly fine, aren't you? Thanks to Dr. George for providing you with an artificial heart. Let's go and thank him in person another day." Isaac looked displeased when he saw my cold expression, no longer looking at him with the passionate adoration I used to have. "Who's we with you? Take your Hazel and go by yourself," I said indifferently. "Phoebe, I've already apologized to you. Let's let this matter go. Don't go too far." Isaac thought I was jealous and his tone became impatient. I didn't want to waste any more time on this person, so I turned around and closed the door. Isaac was taken aback. Obviously, he didn't expect that I, who had always been submissive, would treat him in such a manner. Then he said harshly, "Phoebe, don't regret it. Without me, it will be difficult for you to survive in this apocalyptic world." A few days later, I took on a Class B mission in the task hall, to collect daily necessities from a large supermarket on the outermost layer of City S. When I met with the team members, they clearly didn't trust me, the newly appointed captain, especially a muscular man whose arm was thicker than my leg. I distributed the high-performance machine guns I had exchanged to them respectively and said, "My name is Phoebe. This is a token of our meeting. Follow me well in the future, and there will be food and weapons, but I have only one requirement, and that is to absolutely obey orders. Hot weapons are extremely scarce here. Most of them are in the hands of the top management, and the ones that have leaked out are only some low-end weapons, while the ones I gave them are the most advanced ones available." At first, the team members thought that I, being so generous, was the daughter of some base leader coming out for training, but after entering the supermarket and seeing my perfect marksmanship and powerful and agile fighting skills, several of them completely changed their minds, and their attitude towards me took a 180-degree turn. They started to fawn on me, calling me Sister Phoebe, one after another. When we returned with a full load, I happened to run into Isaac's team in the base task warehouse. "Isaac, isn't that Miss Phoebe?" Hazel reminded him loudly, looking at the tightly covered trunk of our truck. She said regretfully, "Miss Phoebe, it's not easy to bring supplies back now. The zombies are not only mutating but also gradually gaining intelligence and showing a tendency to gather. You're not like me, at least I have a gold-type ability to fight the zombies. You, a girl with no strength to truss a chicken, don't push yourself too hard and risk your life." It seems that Isaac hasn't revealed my healing ability to her yet. I ignored her and Isaac and directed the team members to open the trunk and hand over the supplies one by one in front of the administrator. Looking at the truck full of supplies, Hazel was rather embarrassed and whispered to Isaac, "Isaac, how could Phoebe have the ability to bring back so many supplies? Maybe she took some special route. You have to persuade her well. A clean girl shouldn't go astray." Isaac frowned and said, "Phoebe, if you want to come back, I can get all these supplies for you. Don't do anything stupid, or it will be too late to regret it." Hearing their conversation, I couldn't help laughing and said, "Isaac, don't say I won't do anything stupid. Even if I do, what does it have to do with you?" Isaac was irritated again and left with Hazel in his arms right in front of me. 7 later, although I didn't have an offensive ability, because of my outstanding combat power, my status in the base rose rapidly. The team I led became larger and larger, and finally, I was on an equal footing with Isaac and became Commander Phoebe. Then I began to take on more difficult tasks. This time, it was to collect weapons and laboratory data from a field military base in City B next door. The laboratory of this military base was the place where the first alien species in the country appeared, and it was extremely dangerous, so I needed to go with another commander, and that commander was Isaac. When we arrived at the wild forest outside City B and got off the car, I saw a tall and slender figure. It was George. With a smile in his eyes and brows, he explained to me, "Phoebe, the laboratory data is very important, so I have to come and get it myself." After a year of getting along, we have become familiar with each other. Unlike Isaac's sickly charm, George is a very gentle person. At least to me, he would often find excuses to come to my house for a meal, but in the end, he would cook a big table of dishes for me to taste, claiming that it was to replenish my nutrition so that I could provide more valuable blood. In fact, he hasn't asked me to donate blood for several months. Even so, he still finds various reasons to meet me every now and then and shows me all kinds of novel experimental gadgets. I nodded, took out a miniature submachine gun with great lethality, and gave it to him, saying, "It's very dangerous inside. I can't protect you all the time. Be careful yourself." George stared at me, his eyes shining brightly. "Is Phoebe worried about me?" Isaac's face showed annoyance and he interrupted us. "It's getting late. Don't waste time. Let's go." Hazel gave me a provocative glance and then followed Isaac into the cave. The scattered zombies in the cave were quickly dealt with. We came to a mechanical door. George took out his computer, connected it to the sensor outside the door, and entered a long string of codes. then the mechanical door opened automatically. A thick smell of blood mixed with the stench of decay hit us. We were on high alert, expecting to be attacked by a large number of zombies and mutated monsters. But there was no such attack. Behind the door, there were only dried bloodstains on the wall. There was not a single corpse, not even a piece of rotting meat. As we walked into the passage, it was unusually quiet all around. My sixth sense told me that this trip was extremely dangerous, but the system said that the amount of firearms stored in this military base was very large, which could at least double the combat effectiveness of the entire base. More importantly, there were also seeds of food here. Only with the seeds of food can we truly preserve the spark of human survival. Suddenly, a scream came from the back of the team. We all turned around, but we didn't see any monsters. Gather in place immediately and count your companions around you. I gave the order. Commander Phoebe, Lao Wu is missing, a team member said tremblingly. It seems that this thing is very fast. There's something wrong here. I'll cover the rear, and you cover the front. Let's go to the warehouse first. I whispered to Isaac. In the past, in front of him, I had always been an understanding and compliant person, never showing a strong side. Now, in our first cooperation, I, who was used to taking the leading role, couldn't help giving him an order. Isaac was obviously taken aback, and his eyes showed a strange look, as if he was meeting me like this for the first time. He walked to the front of the team and acquiesced to my arrangement. George, stay with me. If there's any trouble, I'll protect you at the first moment. I pulled George to my side. George smiled at me and said, "Of course I'll stay with you." Hearing his meaningful words, my face blushed slightly, and I didn't respond. I know that he likes me, but so what? I'm not from this world, and I will eventually have to go back. So, sorry, George, I can't respond to you. 8. After moving forward for a certain distance, I immediately sensed that something was approaching. Relying on my agility and strength that had been raised to the limit, I kicked away the approaching creature, aimed the muzzle of the gun at its head, and fired several shots. However, the head of this monster with a human head and a spider's body was extremely hard, and the bullets didn't even leave a dent. When I saw it stand up and let out a sharp roar, I felt something was wrong. I drew out my broadsword, rushed towards the monster, jumped up to avoid the attack of its long legs, and with a few rolls, I neatly cut off its head, and the monster finally fell to the ground. It really lives up to being a high-quality prize from the 10 consecutive draws of integral consumption. Although it's a bit long, it doesn't prevent it from being cool and handsome to use. Isaac saw me using the knife for the first time and his eyes were full of admiration. "Phoebe, you're really amazing." I didn't comment and said, "Let's move forward quickly. I'm afraid this monster was just calling for its companions." Before walking for a short while, a rustling sound came from behind us. When I looked back, I felt a shiver down my spine. A large group of human-headed spider monsters were chasing after us. I ordered urgently, "Quick, turn left ahead." While running, I kept throwing grenades all the way, and the entire corridor echoed with violent explosions. The number of chasing human-headed spider monsters gradually decreased, and we stopped to fight. After cutting off the head of the last human-headed spider monster, I was already extremely tired and collapsed on the ground without any grace. George took out a tissue and carefully wiped the dirty blood off my face. Seeing our interaction, Isaac walked up to us with a gloomy face. "Phoebe, is this the reason why you left me? Is George really that good?" I looked blank. George glanced at him disdainfully and chuckled. "Isaac, don't forget that you were the one who sent Phoebe to me with your own hands." Isaac's pupils shrank. After loosening his clenched fists, he released flames and showed off. "George, what right do you, a weakling who stays in the laboratory all day, have to stand beside Phoebe? Only I am worthy of her." "Huh, so narcissistic." A flash of sharpness appeared in George's eyes. With a slight movement of his fingers, I stood up and interrupted their argument. "Isaac, we're done." Isaac looked helpless. "Phoebe, don't be angry with me. I really didn't have the heart to discuss love affairs with a sickly person who also carried a system, especially since my own life was still at stake." I stood up and pushed Isaac away, automatically ignoring his words, and led the team to continue searching for the warehouse. When Isaac saw that I was no longer paying attention to him, he had to follow. Suddenly, a slow and heavy crawling sound came from ahead, It sounded like a giant monster. I raised my hand to signal the team members to crawl into the ceiling passage and hide collectively. The giant monster came below us. Through the gap, I saw that the monster, which was similar to a human figure, had no head. Its body was covered with human eyes, and its chest was full of dense mouthparts, which was terrifying to look at. It was a middle-rank alien species. The monster smelled that our scent had disappeared and lingered and searched below. When it looked up at the ceiling, Hazel was too nervous and couldn't help letting out a scream. I immediately covered her mouth, but it was already too late. Several long tongues shot out from the dense mouthparts of the giant monster, shattered the ceiling interlayer, and inserted into the heads of some team members. The team members who were inserted by the long tongues immediately twitched all over and were instantly sucked dry. I raised my knife and cut off these long tongues, but in a short while, these long tongues grew out of the mouthparts again. You go first, I'll hold it back. I urgently ordered the team members to go and search for the warehouse first. This monster was difficult to deal with, but its movement was slow. As long as we could find a way to hold it back, it wouldn't affect our collection of arms and seeds. After the team members left quickly, only George, Isaac, and Hazel stayed. Seeing that our goal was achieved, we ran in the opposite direction of the team and came to the outside of a laboratory. George began to unlock the password. The giant monster gradually caught up, and we had to continue to fight with it to buy time for George. George's fingers moved quickly. After quickly deciphering the password, the door slowly opened, and Hazel slipped in first. She shouted to Isaac, "Isaac, come in quickly." Isaac didn't want to leave me alone to resist, so Hazel activated her gold-type ability and pulled him in with an iron chain. "George, you go in first, I'll come right away." Understanding my intention, George entered the door and said, "Phoebe, there are still 10 seconds before the door closes automatically. I'll count down. You must come in during the last 3 seconds." The giant monster seemed to understand our words and attacked even more frantically. In the 3rd second, before the countdown ended, I dodged its attack clumsily and entered the door. When I relaxed for a moment, I saw the scene behind me reflected in Isaac's frightened eyes. A long tongue of the giant monster was inserted into the back of my head. 9. Before I could react, the long tongue was instantly cut off by a torn space. It was George. He turned out to have a spatial ability. George looked at the back of my head worriedly. "Are you okay? Don't get close to her. She'll mutate if she's infected." Hazel reminded shrilly. George looked displeased and gave her a disgusted look. He helped me sit down. I let out a long sigh of relief and endured the pain to pull out the long tongue inserted into the back of my head. In an instant, the wound healed and the bleeding stopped. "You actually have a healing ability." Hazel's eyes were filled with jealousy. "The healing ability is rare and precious in the apocalypse." Isaac remained silent, but his eyes kept sweeping towards me. George helped me wipe the blood off the back of my neck again and then began to observe the surroundings. This was the core laboratory of this military base. Since he had already revealed his ability, George was no longer constrained. He took out several laptops from the space one after another, connected them to the main computer of the laboratory, and began to decipher the codes and collect data. Isaac walked up to me and said pleadingly, "Phoebe, come back to me. I was wrong. I found that I can't live without you." I joked. "Come back to you. What about your Hazel?" Isaac's eyes flickered. "Hazel will naturally be with us. Don't worry. In the future, I'll treat you both equally and there won't be any more situations where I hurt you because of her." I seem to have heard the biggest joke. "Do you want to have 2 women at the same time? This is the apocalypse, Phoebe. Which powerful person doesn't have several confidants around them now? You're daydreaming." I mocked him. The arrival of the apocalypse has completely changed people's moral bottom line. Even Isaac, who is a task taker, is no exception. He still wanted to persuade me further, but George came over and asked me to accompany him to the main control room to look at the data. Under Isaac's furious gaze, I followed George into the main control room. As soon as we entered the room, George closed the door and locked it behind him. I frowned. "George, what are you doing?" He let out a sigh and hugged me. I instinctively stepped back, but he stepped forward. He carefully held my cheeks in his hands. The corners of his eyes were slightly red, and his eyes showed an indescribable throbbing. He whispered, "What should I do? I really want to hide you away so that others won't always think about you." My heart rate quickened. As I watched him express his possessiveness emotionally, I didn't feel the slightest bit of repulsion. Instead, it was as if an electric current shot through my heart, making it tingle and itch. "Stop talking nonsense." I lowered my head, trying to hide my blushing cheeks. "Phoebe, don't reject me, okay?" George exerted a little pressure with his fingers, forcing me to look up at him. Looking at my slightly reddened face, his eyes gradually grew deeper, and he leaned closer, a pair of scorching and soft lips pressed against mine. In an instant, my mind went blank. He lingered on my lips, and then the kiss gradually deepened. His soft tongue pried open my teeth, greedily capturing every breath of mine. For a moment, I was so weak all over from the kiss that my mind was in a mess. And I completely forgot about the system task. "Phoebe, I like you, let's be together." George kissed all the way down to my neck, when he couldn't help but touch my waist. A loud thud against the wall came from outside the door. I woke up instantly and pushed him away, looking into his eyes filled with lust. I turned my head aside. "I'll go out first to find another exit. You finish collecting the data quickly, and then we'll go and join the main team as soon as possible." George curved his lips into a faint smile, his voice hoarse. "You have feelings for me too." I was annoyed and angry, and I slammed the door of the main control room shut. When Isaac saw me come out with a flushed face, he was extremely angry. "Are you so desperate for a man that you have to find one as soon as you leave me?" I hadn't yet recovered from the ambiguous atmosphere with George and was too lazy to pay attention to him. Seeing that I didn't speak, the gloom in Isaac's eyes deepened. He walked behind me and suddenly hugged me, pressing against my back. He murmured, "Phoebe, don't be so cold. You used to love me so much. Have you fallen in love with someone else so quickly?" I pushed his embrace away, took a deep breath, and decided to make things clear once and for all. "Isaac, when you took my heart, the Phoebe who loved you died. When you just took my heart, I did resent you, but now, I have more important things to do. So I neither hate nor resent you. However, it's also impossible for me to love you again. Let's both look forward." The color drained from Isaac's face, and he pleaded in a low voice, "Phoebe, I was wrong. Will you forgive me? I didn't know how important you were to me back then. Now I'm willing to compensate you with everything, as long as we can go back to the way we were before." "Okay." Hazel couldn't stand it any longer and pulled Isaac towards herself. "Isaac, didn't you hear that? Phoebe has already hooked up with another man. She doesn't love you anymore. Don't humiliate yourself like this." Isaac stared blankly at his former white moonlight. Since he saved her, without Phoebe by his side, his heart had always felt empty. This feeling continued to fester until today. When he heard that Phoebe didn't reject George's kiss, the uncontrollable jealousy instantly burned his reason. He vented his anger by hitting the wall, trying to disrupt the intimacy between the two in the room. He was out of the room, but now he felt even more desperate. It was all because of saving Hazel that his relationship with Phoebe was damaged. For a moment, Hazel didn't seem so important to him anymore. He even began to resent that it was Hazel's appearance that had destroyed Phoebe's love for him. Slap. Hazel looked at Isaac in shock. He actually slapped himself. 10. "You're talking nonsense. Phoebe is just being angry with me. It's all your fault. Why did you have to show up?" Isaac stared fiercely at Hazel, his eyes no longer as tender as before. The former white moonlight had ultimately become something ordinary and unimportant. "You actually hit me because of her." Hazel became hysterical, looking at the two in front of me. I couldn't help but laugh. Hazel looked at me venomously. "Phoebe, what are you so proud of?" Isaac is just driven by a momentary possessiveness. He still loves me. The giant monster outside the door was still eyeing us covetously. I really didn't want to waste time on these two people, so I walked past them and started looking around for the weak points of the laboratory. Seeing that I ignored her, Hazel became even more resentful. She immediately transformed a metal wrench behind me into a sharp metal spike, preparing to sneak attack and pierce through my body. Sensing the danger, I quickly turned around and raised my hand to grab the spike. Suddenly, the space around the spike twisted, and the torn space actually cut it in half. George walked out of the main control room. He curled his slender fingers and gently lifted his hand in the air. Hazel was instantly lifted into the air. Her neck seemed to be choked, and she covered her neck with both hands while kicking her legs continuously. Isaac couldn't stand it any longer. A stream of flames rushed towards George. Attempting to stop him, George gently pushed with his left hand, and the flames hit an air wall and couldn't move forward any further. "Stop it all. Don't waste any more time. I've found the exit." Hearing my words, George and Isaac both let go. Hazel fell to the ground, gasping for breath, and quickly hid behind Isaac. Looking at George in fear, bang, I took out my pistol and shot Hazel in the arm. "Ah, Phoebe, you bitch, what are you doing?" Hazel cried out in pain. "If there's a next time, the bullet will hit your head." I glanced at Hazel, whose face was filled with venom, and warned her, "Isaac, it hurts so much. She actually attacked me." Looking into Hazel's tearful eyes, Isaac lowered his eyes. "It's Hazel's fault, since you've already punished her. Let's forget about this matter." Seeing that Isaac was no longer on her side, Hazel quieted down and endured the pain to bandage her wound. George smiled playfully and asked if I was okay. Remembering his emotional eyes just now, my heart was still pounding, and I tried to change the subject. I went to a corner of the laboratory. After shooting out a contour through which a person could pass on a mechanical wall, I kicked it open with force and saw another room. After walking out of the laboratory, we followed the locator to find where the team members were. At this time, they had already found the military warehouse. The warehouse covered an astonishingly large area, and there were far more supplies in it than we had imagined. With the people we brought this time, we could only take half of the supplies back. "It seems that we can only send someone to get the rest next time," I said regretfully as I watched the last team member drive away. George smiled mysteriously. "No need." He pulled me and we entered the military base again. On the way, we encountered that giant monster. Without the presence of outsiders, he didn't hold back at all. He released several spatial cracks and easily shredded the monster into pieces on the ground. He was stronger than I had imagined. When we arrived at the warehouse, George waved his hand, and all the remaining supplies disappeared. "Your spatial capacity is so large," I asked him, and he smiled and nodded in acquiescence. I didn't say anything and asked the system, could this person also be a task taker? "His cheat ability is so powerful, host. This system has conducted a comprehensive inspection of this world. Currently, there are only you and Isaac as task takers. It's impossible for there to be a third task taker." On the way back to the base, there were only George and me in the car. We didn't speak, and the atmosphere became even more sticky. I opened the window to get some fresh air, hoping that the wind could dispel some of the awkwardness in the car. George let out a soft sigh. "Phoebe. At first, out of curiosity, I really just wanted to keep you as an experimental subject, but later, the more I got to know you, the more attracted I was to you. Your every move and every word made me completely obsessed." He looked at me intently. "I'm serious. Maybe you still have feelings for Isaac in your heart, or maybe you were hurt by him and don't want to accept a new relationship for the moment. But it doesn't matter, I'll wait for you, only for you." For a moment, my heart was in a mess, and I turned my head to look out the window to hide my inner confusion. Seeing that I didn't speak, George didn't push me any further and focused on driving. For a while, the car fell into silence again. "System, can I stay in this world?" "Yes, host. After you complete the task, the main system will issue rewards, and you can choose for yourself. If you choose to stay, then your body in the other world will die. In the other world, my parents and brother are still waiting for me, but I also can't bear to leave him." Looking at George's handsome side profile, I fell into extreme entanglement. 11. The completion of this collection mission directly increased the combat strength of the northern base. There is still 1 year left before the largest wave of zombie tides will hit. With these hot weapons and sufficient food supplies, I am full of confidence in completing the task. In the next 6 months, George studied the virus vaccine day and night with the data copied from the laboratory. Although he was extremely busy, he would still set aside a few days each month to come and see me. The thin layer of window paper between us still hadn't been broken because of my hesitation. However, Isaac had an accident during an outdoor mission. Because of the news about the Zombie King, Isaac led Hazel and the team members to investigate the city where the Zombie King was. It was said that the city was extremely dangerous, with many high-rank alien species appearing. The team that went to investigate was almost completely wiped out, and only Hazel and another male team member came back. Hazel cried and said that Isaac had been killed by the Zombie King in order to save her, and she and that male team member had managed to escape back with their lives. Now a week had passed, and Isaac still hadn't returned. His chances of survival were slim. When I heard this news, I felt no fluctuation in my heart. George told me about it carefully, afraid that I would be sad when he saw that I didn't react at all. He was overjoyed. 2 months later, Isaac faded out of people's sight. One early morning, a harsh alarm sounded throughout the base under the night sky. It was the zombies attacking the city. I climbed up to the observation deck and looked at the dark mass in front of me. My heart palpitated. There were such a huge number of them. And among them were many high-rank alien species that were rarely seen normally. Hot weapons couldn't accurately harm the high-rank alien species, so the ability users of the base had to go out of the city to fight the zombies up close. The system told me that the largest wave of zombie attacks had been advanced, so I drew out my broadsword and joined the fighting team. Just as I was fighting with great enthusiasm, the zombies around me began to part, making way. A familiar figure walked towards me carrying Hazel. It was Isaac. His skin was unusually pale, making him look even more sickly charming. Looking into his scarlet eyes, I tensed up all over. Isaac, unlike his usual gentle and refined appearance, a determined smile appeared on his extremely gloomy face. "Phoebe, long time no see, I miss you so much." When I heard these words, all the hairs on my body stood on end, and I stepped back repeatedly because the system prompted me that Isaac had become the new zombie king. "Are you afraid of me?" Isaac frowned. "No," I said stubbornly. With a task taker with a system becoming the zombie king, did I still have a chance of winning? "Host, saving your life is the most important thing. We have plenty of time in the future. The world with two systems is full of loopholes, and the difficulty of the task changes very easily. Now it seems that the difficulty of the task we reset has increased again. If I complete the task in this situation, will the reward be doubled?" Of course, I decided to take a gamble. I knew that Isaac hadn't given up on me, so, without any struggle, Hazel and I were taken away by him together. Isaac chose a private manor as his lair. I was forced to change into a white gauze dress and sat opposite Isaac to have a meal with him. A male human dressed as a servant timidly brought the food to me. While Isaac's food was a large bottle of scarlet human blood, Isaac clapped his hands, and Hazel was brought up by several alien species. "Phoebe, I know you must still resent me for digging out your heart for this woman, to vent your anger. How about I dig out her heart today?" Isaac asked someone to splash water on Hazel to wake her up. When Hazel opened her eyes and saw Isaac, she let out a scream. "Isaac, don't kill me, don't kill me." I was so scared at that time. When I reacted, I had already pushed you in front of the zombie king. It was just my instinct. I regretted it later. I think of you every day. Hazel would never forget the scene of the man she once loved deeply pushing her into the zombie horde with his own hands. She didn't want to experience the pain of being bitten again, so she made the same choice as her ex-boyfriend and dragged Isaac down with her. Hee, is that so? But the man who came back alive with you said that when you were having sex, you would even curse that I should have died long ago. Isaac looked at her playfully and took a sip of blood. "Isaac, he's talking nonsense. I love you so much. How could I want you to die?" You mustn't believe him. When Hazel learned that that person had also fallen into Isaac's hands, her eyes dodged, and she continued to struggle. "It doesn't matter. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to possess this supreme power." Isaac smiled sickly, making me feel uneasy. Isaac tapped the table with his fingers, and several alien species fastened Hazel's limbs respectively. A man was pushed forward timidly and stood in front of her. "Dig out her heart, and I'll let you go." Isaac threw a sharp knife at him. "12." Hazel let out a scream. "No, he's lying to you. He won't let you go. You used your ability to trap him so that he couldn't get up at that time. Have you forgotten? Quickly kill these alien species, and let's escape together." When the man heard that Isaac agreed to let him go, he didn't hesitate to pick up the scalpel and approach Hazel. Seeing that there was no room for maneuver, Hazel cursed. "Isaac, when you chose to save me in the first place, you shouldn't have thought about Phoebe anymore. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given up on you as a stepping stone so quickly. So what if you didn't die? Now you're just a monster, an outsider." Seeing me sitting there clean and intact, Hazel resented. "Do you think that if you dig out my heart, Phoebe will follow you again?" "Don't dream." In the base, she has been flirting with George for half a year. Everyone knows that they are about to get together. Will Phoebe give up a genius like George and choose you? A monster? Ha ha ha, you're so pitiful. I didn't love you before, and now Phoebe doesn't love you either. You're just an outsider that no one loves. Hazel's words were like a dagger to the heart. Isaac was so provoked that his face became ferocious. He flicked out his long black nails and gently slashed. Hazel's tongue was immediately cut off. She spat out a pool of blood on the ground and let out a pitiful scream. "If you don't act now, you'll become their food," Isaac said fiercely to the man. The man didn't hesitate any longer. He stabbed the knife into Hazel's chest with one hand and slid it open. Then with the other hand, he forcefully inserted it into her chest and pulled out a blood-soaked heart, due to the enhanced physique of an ability user. Hazel didn't die immediately, but she was on the verge of death. Isaac nodded, and several alien species dragged Hazel out of the room. Soon, the sound of feasting came from outside. Hearing the commotion outside the door, I frowned and felt a little nauseous. As if knowing my discomfort, Isaac motioned for one of the alien species to pick up the fresh heart and swallow it. "Phoebe, if it weren't for this special opportunity, I might never see you again." I once thought about leading the base to protect the surviving humans, but after being persecuted, I realized that compared to the complex humans, zombies are the simplest creatures in this world. Now that I have become the zombie king, if you follow me, you will be the zombie queen. Believe me, I have the ability to conquer the whole world, and you will eventually be able to stand beside me at the peak of power in this world. Isaac's so-called special opportunity was probably his system. Isaac is now the strongest zombie king in this world. Isn't there any weakness, host? The weakness of ordinary zombies is in their brains, and the weakness of the zombie king is in his chest. The remaining points you have can be exchanged for a bottle of god-level paralyzing water. As long as the zombie king drinks this water, he will be completely paralyzed all over and unable to move. At that time, as long as you dig out his mutated heart, he will naturally die. So, I had a plan in mind and agreed to him. Isaac was very happy and threatened to hold a magnificent wedding for me, so that the whole world would know that I had become his woman. Then, the entire manor became lively. Many humans were sent to the manor one after another, under the pretext of taking care of the daily life of me, the future zombie queen. Everyone was busy preparing for the wedding, until one day, when I was about to close the door and rest, a pair of warm hands covered my lips. I didn't scream because the cold fragrance of the person behind me told me that it was George. He had come to save me. It wasn't that we hadn't been apart for several days before, but this time when I saw him, my heart throbbed especially violently. He examined me from head to toe. After confirming that I was okay, he pressed me against the wall and kissed me frantically. This was the second time we had kissed since the last time in the military base. Unlike the previous gentle and lingering kiss, he seemed extremely excited and rough. His unshaven chin rubbed my cheeks red, as if he was expressing his worry and longing through his actions. After a long kiss, we were both panting, looking at the wide-open window. I teased, "When did George learn such romantic things as sneaking into a boudoir at night?" "Phoebe, ever since I heard that you were captured, I'd been chasing after you. When I heard that Isaac didn't do anything to you, I finally felt relieved." I slowly mingled with the servants. Today, since Isaac went out, I finally had the chance to meet you. How have you been these days? "I'm fine." Isaac didn't make things difficult for me during this time. "It's dangerous here. Isaac is very powerful now, and you're no match for him. Listen to me, you go back first, and I will find a way to come back on my own." Isaac really did go out to deal with the wedding matters today, but he could come back at any time. I was worried about George being exposed and urged him to go back to the base quickly. "How could I leave when you're still here? Let's go together. I will definitely ensure that you go back safely." George insisted on not leaving alone, but the reason why I was willing to be captured by Isaac this time was to complete the task of killing the zombie king. If Isaac didn't die, the task would fail, and I would eventually not be able to survive. If the task was successful, it would be fine. If it failed, I would die. But I couldn't drag George to die with me. Seeing that I was hesitant and unwilling to leave, George urged, "Phoebe, if we don't leave now, he will be back. Do you really want to be his queen here?" Just then, Isaac appeared silently behind him. My pupils constricted. I saw Isaac reaching out quickly towards George. George immediately used spatial displacement to flash aside. Isaac squinted his eyes, raised and lowered his hands. After a spatial shock, George found that he couldn't move at all. "Do you think you're the only one with the power of space?" Isaac sneered, ready to strike a fatal blow. "Isaac, stop." he saved me. I shouted to stop him. Besides, I don't want there to be any more bloodshed because of me before the wedding. Isaac raised his eyebrows and looked at George, then curled his lips into a smile. Okay, since Phoebe said so, I'll spare your life. Enjoy watching our wedding. George didn't understand why I didn't go with him, but in the end, he didn't ask any more questions because he had always respected my choices. In order to make George completely disappointed in me and also to relax Isaac's vigilance, I said a lot of heartless words to George in front of Isaac, hoping that he could let go of me and leave this dangerous place. Isaac really didn't lie to me. He summoned all the zombies and alien species from several nearby cities to hold a magnificent wedding for me. I bribed a servant and asked him to secretly let George go on the day of the wedding. On the night of the wedding, I proposed to drink the nuptial wine. Isaac readily agreed and drank the spiked wine I had prepared, but there was no reaction for a long time. At this time, George, who should have returned to the base, actually broke into the room again. Isaac was extremely angry that his wedding night was disrupted. Ignoring my dissuasion, he fought with George. Seeing that George was at a disadvantage, I had to step in to help. When Isaac saw that I was helping George against him, his jealousy flared up. Phoebe, I'm your husband. Do you still have feelings for this man? Seeing that I didn't say anything, Isaac became even angrier and his attacks became more ruthless. He pushed me away and restrained me. Then with one hand, he violently inserted into George's chest and pulled out his heart. No, no, I shouted heartbreakingly. Seeing that I still seemed to have feelings for George, Isaac immediately crushed the heart in his hand, destroying my hope. George fell to the ground, his face pale. He struggled to crawl towards me. When Isaac saw this, he stepped on his fingers fiercely, preventing him from moving at all. What a pity, Phoebe, I might not be able to accompany you anymore. George looked at me with eyes full of heartache, as if the only impact that death could bring to him was that he couldn't be with me. Even when I first came to this world, I wasn't this flustered. Tears instantly blurred my vision. Although you don't like to smile on ordinary days, you're really beautiful when you do, so don't cry, be happy and smile more in the future, okay? I kept wiping my tears with my hands, afraid that I would never see George again. George, hold on, you can't die. You said you would wait for me. System, why isn't it working yet? Is the paralyzing water expired? Host, don't be excited. Isaac's zombie king heart plus your heart's blood can save him. Hearing me call out the word system, Isaac was full of doubts. Suddenly, his face changed, and he fell stiffly to the ground. Phoebe, what did you do to me? Without the source of restraint, I broke free and rushed to George's side. I used the exchanged medicine to keep him alive. Looking at Isaac's immobile body, I laughed. Isaac, didn't you expect it? I also have a system, and I'm also a task taker in this world. At first, my task was just to strategy you. I was only a little bit away from completing the task and leaving here, and you could also continue your task without interfering with each other. But it's all your fault that when I hadn't completed the task yet, you almost killed me and exposed your own identity. So, I had to change the task target. I believe that now your task target has also changed, right? Now that we're on opposite sides, we're destined to have one of us live and the other die. At this moment, Isaac could only express his shock and unwillingness with his eyes. Sorry, the system said that your heart can save him. Because of my unprecedented behavior of being a love-struck person, there was even a heated debate on the school forum between the model girlfriend and the brainless love-struck person. In an instant, Isaac's whole body skin gradually turned gray, and he stared wide-eyed and lost his vitality. I cut open my chest, took out my heart's blood, and dropped it on Isaac's heart. The gray-blue heart instantly turned bright red. I carefully placed it into George's chest. Because of the blood with my healing ability, the ferocious wound on his chest began to repair automatically. Host, the task is completed. You can choose to return to the original world or stay in this world. George, would you like to leave here with me and go to a very far place? I asked as I helped George up and asked him seriously. Phoebe, I'll go wherever you go, George said tenderly, pulling me into his arms. System, for the reward of completing the high-difficulty task, I want George to go back to the original world with me. But host, this request has exceeded the scope of the high-difficulty task reward. If I remember correctly, George had already developed the virus vaccine before, right? This is no longer about preserving the spark of human survival. but about saving all of humanity. It can be considered that I have completed the task with extra achievements, right? Yes, host, the gorgeous sunlight stung my eyes. I tried hard to open my eyes and saw the drip on my hand and my tired but extremely happy parents beside me. My heart tightened. Where was George? I immediately stood up and stumbled outside. Phoebe, Phoebe, where are you going now that you've just woken up? My mother chased after me. Worriedly, as soon as I got out of the ward door, I crashed into a warm embrace. A cold fragrance wafted over. I looked up with tears in my eyes. George, George smiled playfully. You finally woke up. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Phoebe, oh, it's Dr. George. Thank you so much. Thanks to your excellent medical skills, our Phoebe is finally better, my mother said gratefully. She helped me onto the bed and then got up to pour water. Looking at his delicate face, I pulled him to my side and whispered, Dr. George, let's be together.